Welcome, baseball fans, to WCBN sports coverage of Michigan baseball. It's the final game of the regular season as the Wolverines make a trip north to East Lansing to take on the Michigan State Spartans. I'm Leo Blave, and joining me here at McLean Baseball Stadium is Kevin Klein. Kevin, right now Michigan on the outside looking in terms of a Big Ten regular season crown. They need a Nebraska loss, and so far things not going the maize and blue way up in Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, where the Cornhuskers have sprinted out to a 10-0 lead through 2 innings against the Nittany Lions. So Michigan's chances in a regular season looking grim, but still a lot to play for. Michigan trying to secure the second seed in next week's Big Ten tournament, but in order to do so, they're going to need to secure a victory here on the road, where Michigan State handed the Wolverines a 6-1 loss on Thursday. Now here on Saturday, they'll go against the senior for Michigan State on Senior Day here in East Lansing. They'll throw Walter Borkovich, who's making his first start of the year, with Jake Bivens leading things off for the Maize and Blue. What can you tell us about the right-hander for the Spartans?
Well, it is his first start of the year, but you know what? A 4-3 record, that ERA at 2.19. So in about 50 innings pitched, he knows how to get outs. He's not going to strike a ton out, only 30 strikeouts to 13 walks this year. But he's a very competent pitcher. Not sure how long he will go for the Spartans, as they really don't have anything to play for today. It's more just get those extra reps. Maybe head coach Jake Boss Jr. will try to get a couple extra pitchers in there, but Borkovich, a very good pitcher, and it's nice to see him get the start on Senior Day.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Michigan State already eliminated. This will be their last game of the season. This will be the first time they missed making the Big Ten tournament since 2013, but still in a rivalry game. You don't expect the Spartans to take their foot off the gas pedal. But as you said, we were speaking with the Michigan State SID before the game, and he said he wasn't quite sure what kind of tweaks we could expect to see in the Spartan lineup today, because this is the last game whether they win or lose. Michigan, of course, still playing for the Big Ten tournament seeding. That will start next weekend in Bloomington. The first pitch misses the eye of Jake Bivens, but is on the outside part of the plate for a called strike here. 12:02, the official first pitch time. A beautiful day for baseball, and a couple of beautiful pitches to start the game for the Traverse City, Michigan born senior Walter Borkovich, who's ahead of Bivens 0-2. Our home plate umpire, Mark Ewell, watches a pitch low and inside. The count now 1-2 between Borkovich and Jake Bivens. Akeo Thomas still out with that hand injury that he appears to have re-aggravated back on Thursday. He got the start then, but has not seen action since, and he was pulled out early in that game from his second base spot. The 1-2 pitch misses inside from Borkovich. The count now 2-2. Borkovich second in the Big Ten with a 2.19 ERA, but that somewhat misleading because he, as you said, coming out of the bullpen, but still an impressive pitcher nonetheless in his first start of the year in Michigan State's last game of the year. A grounder to the second baseman, Durkin, who cleans it up easily and fires to first to get Jake Bivens out on the grounder. One away here in the top of the first.
Batting second, the center fielder, number 25.
Yeah, and although Bivens wasn't able to get it done there, I really like him in that first spot leading off for the Wolverines, because he's such a versatile player. We saw what he was able to do in his sophomore year last year, hitting over 350. But he steals a lot of bases. He's a smart base runner, just not able to get it done there.
Brings up Johnny Slater, Michigan's usual number 2 hitter, back in that spot. The Southfield, Michigan native by way of Southfield Lathrop High School. He was drafted out of high school, has not been drafted since joining the Michigan program, but has played himself in his senior year well into contention for a possible MLB draft pick, batting over 300 on the year. The count now 1-1 against him.
Yeah, MLB teams might be wanting to look at Johnny Slater. Another versatile player, 11 doubles, 7 triples this year. A great speed outfielder for Michigan.
The 1-1 draws the hips back of Slater. He thought it was inside. Home plate umpire Mark Ewell disagrees. 1-2. Borkovich tied for second on the Spartan team with 4 wins, trying to get his 5th here today on the bump. The 1-2 pitch inside as Slater looks back to the home plate umpire Mark Ewell to double check the call. He thought the last pitch was inside. This time he guesses correctly. 2-2. The 2-2 pitch popped up into shallow center field. Hughes tracks it down, still running in on it. Him and the left fielder have a discussion on who should take the ball. Hughes, the center fielder, ultimately makes the decision, waving off the left fielder Bryce Kelly. 2 away.
And good communication there from Kelly in left field and Hughes in center, because that can kind of become the Bermuda Triangle in the baseball diamond, and you need good communication out there, especially with a big baseball stadium, which is McLean.
And we saw a miscommunication cost the Wolverines defensively back on Thursday, as Michael Berdar gets up to the plate and gets the first hit of the game, a grounder back up the middle into center field, and Berdar extends the inning with a 2-out single. Came right up to the plate, and first pitch he was swinging all the way.
Third baseman.
And that'll bring up Michigan's hard-hitting Drew Lugbauer, who's just 1 for 7 so far in this series, but he has 3 RBIs to his credit, a 3 RBI double yesterday against MSU. Part of that dominant Wolverine performance that saw Michigan come away with that comfortable 11-6 victory. Oliver Jaski getting his 3rd straight win in Big Ten play. The count 0-1 against Lugbauer with Berdar over at first. The right field shift on with the second baseman Durkin playing in medium depth right field. We get our first pickoff of the game. Safe call made by Perry Costello. The first base umpire was the home plate umpire in each of the previous 2 games, with the second baseman Durkin out in shallow right, the shortstop Ando playing to the right of the second base bag, and the third baseman Bakina covering all the space between second and third base. Another quick move by Borkovich. He thought he got the out on the pickoff throw that time around, but he does not, and the count remains 0-1 between Borkovich and Michigan's third baseman Drew Lugbauer. Yet another pickoff move, and yet another safe call from Perry Costello. Borkovich going to work early, trying to keep Berdar honest over at first base, who calls for a late time.
And you know what? Something I've noticed right off the bat is Borkovich, very quick feet on the mound. That first pickoff attempt was kind of just a show-me move, but the second 2 a lot quicker, a lot crisper. So if you're Michael Berdar on first, better watch out.
Likely a luxury you get coming out of the bullpen. You work on that move a lot more than starters do. Berdar going all the way, so the pickoff certainly warranted, but a foul tapper down the first base line will send Berdar back with that dirty jersey over to first base after diving in 3 straight times to avoid getting picked off. He had the green light and was going all the way, but that foul tapper by Lugbauer makes the count 0-2 against him. 2 gone here in the top of the first. Borkovich from the stretch with Berdar over at first, sets to deliver to Lugbauer, but not before another pickoff. This time it gets away from the first baseman McGuire, and Berdar will go jog into second base, and he advances to scoring position with 2 outs here in the first, as finally the pickoff bites Borkovich and allows Berdar to advance into scoring position.
And you love to keep the runner at first close, but there needs to be a happy medium between keeping him close and focusing on a very talented batter in Drew Lugbauer, and we saw there that pickoff attempt was 1 too many. With
the right field shift on, the 0-2 to Lugbauer is just tipped, sent to the backstop, and we'll do it again at 0-2 as Lugbauer has to remain defensive in the batter's box. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball here at McLean Baseball Stadium, home of the Michigan State Spartans. Top of the first, still scoreless. The 0-2 to Lugbauer misses low and inside. 1-2 with Berdar still at second base.
And this is a position where Drew Lugbauer could really grow as a hitter in his junior season with that shift on, to be able to go to the left side of the field, that opposite field, and be inside out on the ball.
The 1-2 swing and a miss. Lugbauer goes down, and Berdar is stranded at second. As Walter Borkovich retires to the side, we head to the bottom of the first here at McLean Stadium, still scoreless. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
Listen, My life changed because someone was there to get me to use drugs. No one can understand. People think that having someone who will listen makes it better. I need help.
I'm listening.
I need help. I think that having someone who will listen makes it better. People understand. No one can get me to use drugs. My life changed because someone was there to listen.
Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to turn addiction around. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Number 33, Brandon Hughes.
Bottom of the first here at Cobes Field, the home of Michigan State baseball. The Wolverines of Michigan making the trip north for the regular season finale here at Michigan State. Still scoreless after Michael Berdar reached on a 2-out single and was stranded at second base. Brandon Hughes, the center fielder for the Spartans, leading things off here in the bottom half of the first inning. He shows bunt and lays it down. Michael Hendrickson, the pitcher, will make the hard charge, flips it barehanded over to first base, and Bivens, who backed off the baseball at the last second, applies the tag with the right cleat to the first base bag for out number 1 to get the speedy leadoff man for the Spartans down on the bunt for a hit attempt.
And you know what? That's a difficult play for a right-hander to make. Even more difficult for a left-hander to make because he's moving to his left. Hendrickson had to barehand that ball, not even able to glove it. And given Hughes' speed, just a terrific play to start this one off.
Yeah, Hughes, who just became the Michigan State single-season stolen base record holder with 30, also leads the Big Ten, showing his speed on the base paths and trying to bunt for a single there. But Michigan up to the task defensively for out number 1 here in the bottom of the first inning. That brings up Bryce Kelly, who's 3 for 9 so far in this series, the left fielder, battling against Michigan's number 3 starter in these weekend series, the lefty Michael Hendrickson, who enters with a record of 6-2 and a 4.12 ERA, a 6'3", 205-pound lefty. Reddy's looking for his first strikeout. The 0-2, a breaking ball outside. Kelly taking all the way. 1-2.
And you know what? This is an important start, not only for Michigan, but for Michael Hendrickson to give head coach Eric Bakich a little bit of confidence in the rest of the rotation behind Oliver Jaski, as that one's fouled away. Behind Oliver Jaski going into the Big Ten tournament and possible NCAA tournament as well.
Yeah, Michigan, you know, in these regionals and in the Big Ten tournament as well, you need at least 3 starters you can throw confidently, particularly if Michigan has ambitions to win their second Big Ten tournament under Eric Bakich, as this one gets over the head of the third baseman Lugbauer, and Bryce Kelly is aboard with a 1-out single into left.
Batting third.
Good plate appearance there, staying alive, fouling off a couple pitches, and then he goes oppo,
Kelly.
hugging that left field line. Lewis tracked it down, holding Kelly at first base, but the Spartans in business here in this scoreless baseball game in the bottom of the first.
And you know what? I thought Lugbauer had a chance to glove that one. It was just over the outstretched arm of Drew Lugbauer, but a really nice piece of hitting, staying in on that Hendrickson fastball.
Bryce Kelly is 13 for 18 on stolen base attempts this year. Tough to run on a lefty when you're at first base. So Hendrickson will try to keep him honest as he does battle against the Spartans designated hitter Chad Ross Kelly, who takes a first pitch out of the zone, 1-0, to the DH, who's 1 for 8 so far on the series. The 1-0, inside for a called strike, 1-1. The Spartans not nearly as aggressive on the base paths as the Wolverines, but still something to keep an eye on as this game progresses, is with the Spartans having nothing left to play for except trying to spoil the Wolverines' chances of securing that 2 seed. You can expect to see some aggressive plays, but a 4-6-3 double play will end the inning as Ross Kelly grounded it to Kerr, flipped it over to Berdar, over to Bivens to retire the side. Nice start for Michael Hendrickson, sends us to the top of the second. Still scoreless between the Spartans and the Wolverines on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The left fielder, number 3, Miles Lewis.
Miles Lewis leading things off here in the second inning at Michigan State University. We're still scoreless between the Spartans and the Michigan Wolverines. Miles Lewis, the transfer from the University of North Dakota, after they shut down their baseball program, eligible immediately, and he's been a bright spot for the Wolverines so far this year, batting over 300 on the season. The first pitch he sees out of the
All foul balls are sponsored by
right hand of Walter Borkovich is fouled up and out of play.
For over 100 years, Auto Owners Insurance.
Lewis was the 2016 WAC Freshman of the Year out of Hudson, Wisconsin. And Michigan gets the Player of the Year to come to Ann Arbor after North Dakota shuts down their program, and he is a seeing eye single back up the middle. Michigan's second hit of the game. Leading things off here in the second is Lewis over at first base.
Batting 6.
Nice start to the second inning for the Wolverines, who are looking to wrap up the second seed in next weekend's Big Ten tournament. Nebraska on top of Penn State 10-0 in that game, so the Wolverines' chances of winning the Big Ten regular season crown appear to be all but over, but they can still secure a good seed in the Big Ten tournament and keep their hopes of hosting an NCAA tournament regional alive. But they certainly need a win today. Lewis going all the way as Poirier shows bunt and sends it foul just to the left of home plate. 0-1. Surprised to see Michigan's designated hitter up there going small ball early in this game?
No, I think it's important for them to manufacture runs, especially what happened on Thursday when Michigan's offense was basically shut down throughout the duration of the game.
Yeah, Alex Troop taking a no-hitter into the seventh inning. And part of that 6-1 Michigan State rout back on Thursday. But the pitching depth cost the Spartans yesterday in Michigan's dominant performance, with the Maize and Blue winning 11-6. The Wolverines looking to remain aggressive today against the usual relief pitcher Walter Borkovich, who gets his first start of the season in his final game in a Michigan State uniform on Senior Day here in East Lansing. Poirier swinging at that last pitch and sending it out of play. The count now 0-2 with Lewis over at first. As Poirier sends one back up the middle, a perfect double play ball. Ando fields it himself as the shortstop touches second. throws over to first, 2 gone here in the second. He was hovering over towards second base in case Lewis tried to swipe second, and the grounder went right to him
Batting seventh,
as the
the
Spartans
right
turn
fielder,
to.
number 2.
Yeah, great positioning
Jonathan
there
Engelman.
defensively from Michigan State. Poirier put some good contact. It would have been a single up the middle, but Ando, good range and plays perfectly.
That brings up Jonathan Engelman, who's 0 for 6 so far in this series. Looking to turn his luck around here in the third and final meeting in Big Ten play between these two sides. The first pitch he sees is a fastball over the inside part of the plate for a called strike. As the Spartans will play their last game of the season here this afternoon. Michigan has the Big Ten tournament next weekend, then the NCAA tournament 2 weeks from now. The Wolverines still hoping to host the first rounds of the NCAA tournament in Ann Arbor, but they'll need a win today and in all likelihood to win the Big Ten tournament as well. Engelman grounds this one over to the second baseman, Durkin, who flips to first to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Wolverines. We head to the bottom of the second, still scoreless. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan
For the
baseball.
Wolverines in the top half of the second.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom. I had no idea how hard it would be and what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood and ways for me to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics, but also information about the hurdles I was facing.
Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Bottom 2 here in East Lansing's McLean Baseball Stadium. The Michigan Wolverines and Michigan State Spartans meeting for the final regular season game for both sides. Dan Durkin to lead things off here in the bottom of the second. Michigan with a right field shift on for the lefty, as the shortstop Berdar just playing ever so slightly to the left of the second base bag from our vantage point behind home plate. A high pitch and a check swing from Durkin, according to third base umpire Michael Schultz. He did not go. 1-0 between Dan Durkin and Michigan's number 3 starter, Michael Hendrickson. The 1-0 misses. 2-0. Durkin, who's been sound defensively so far this game at the second base position, looking to get the Spartans their second hit of the afternoon. Swings and misses at the 2-0 offering. The 2-1. Fouled up and out of play to even the count at 2-2.
Please return all foul balls to the sales and marketing staff near the press box.
And if you're Michael Hendrickson, Durkin, this cleanup spot is an important spot because Michigan State, a lot of power out of Dan Durkin, 9 home runs this year. Leads the team in RBIs.
As Hendrickson delivers the 2-2, which misses high and outside to run the count full. Durkin, who has had a home run yesterday. We'll see if he offers it the 3-2. He does. Pops it up, and it will just clear the netting behind home plate into the stands here at McLean Stadium. A good crowd on hand for senior day. Beautiful weather. We're expecting some showers later on in the afternoon, but they move this start time up an hour to try to avoid those as best they can. We'll do it again with the count full. The right field shift on for the lefty, Dan Durkin. And he got hit. A pitch that went inside catches him on the lead forearm, and he's aboard with a leadoff hit by pitch. And Michigan, who had a single to start the top half of this inning and then grounded into a double play. Now the Spartans get their leadoff man aboard here in the bottom frame of this scoreless affair between these two in-state foes, and that brings up Michigan State's catcher, Matt Byers.
And possibly Michigan State will try to manufacture or move around Durkin, the base pass, as Michigan tried to do in the top half of the inning. But both of these teams early on not taking advantage of their opportunities. A couple double plays from both sides.
Byers, who stands in the right-handed batter's box with no batting gloves, takes a first pitch high and outside. He's a good candidate to lay down a sac bunt as well. 0 for 8 so far in the series. With a runner at first, the 1-0, check swing. The appeal over to first. He went, says Perry Costello, 1-1. Thought that was in the zone anyway, but Mark Ewell had to ask for the appeal to confirm the check swing. It is confirmed. The count now even. The 1-1 is grounded foul into the Michigan State dugout area. Sparty on hand for this regular season finale. A lot of green and white. A nice contingent of Michigan fans as well along the third base side for this final regular season game. The 1-2 from Hendrickson. A breaking ball, and Byers was late on the swing as Hendrickson gets his first strikeout of the afternoon. One gone here in the bottom of the second.
Great pitch, great location. That was one of those pitches where Byers thought it was going to be out of the zone. All of a sudden it's going to drop in the zone, and that's what caused such a late swing.
It looked to be a really nice curveball from Hendrickson. One away here for the Spartan third baseman, Marty Bikina. Bikina had a home run back on Thursday here at East Lansing. Looking to give the Spartans the lead with the runner over at first, and Hendrickson will throw to first to try to keep Durkin honest. So tough, though, to run against a left-handed pitcher as a base runner at first base.
Durkin 5 for 8 in that category in stolen bases.
The first pitch Bikina sees is tapped foul off himself and out of play. 0-1. Bikina, who spoiled the perfect game that the Spartans' Alex Troop had going on Thursday with that error that was followed up by a couple of base hits in the 7th, but Jimmy Kerr reached via an error by the current batter back on Thursday as the 1-1, a pitch out. Durkin not going, but Michigan continues to be careful with that base runner, who led off the inning with a hit by pitch. Hendrickson will go over there once again. Perhaps Hendrickson just trying to find his rhythm right now on the mound. The right-handed Marty Bikina readies to face. The 1-1, he swings and misses, 1-2.
Hendrickson has some good heat on that fastball. Went up in the belt region, and no chance for Bikina there.
Hendrickson looking for back-to-back strikeouts. One gone here in the bottom of the second. We're still scoreless between Michigan and Michigan State. Another pickoff coming over to first. Durkin back safely, standing up. Michigan State in some snazzy alternate faded white uniforms with the green Michigan State across the chest. In the green stirrups, Michigan their road blues with the white pants. The 1-2, grounded over to Berdar at short, over to Kerr at second. He double clutched, his throw over to first is not in time. They're going to say Jake Bivens' foot came off the bag as Kerr had some trouble on the transfer from glove to hand, and by the time the second baseman fired over to first, he had to have a throw absolutely on the money. It was not. I thought Bivens may have done enough to keep his foot on the bag, but the first base umpire, Perry Costello, indicated with the waving of his two hands that Bivens came off the bag to make the catch. So the fielder's choice gets Durkin out, but allows Bikina to reach safely to extend the inning for Michigan State's Dan Shimileski.
Would have been a great play from Bivens. I thought he had his foot on the bag for just enough time. But it was a good play from the start, even by Michael Berdar, to backhand that ball and give a strong, quick feed to Kerr at second base. Kerr just couldn't finish the deal.
Dan Shimileski. He'll wear a pitch as well as the 1-0 got away from Hendrickson. That's the second hit by pitch for the Spartans this inning. And control's starting to be a factor, and you wonder if the tempers will flare for the green and white, already frustrated that this is the last game they'll be playing this season. And Hendrickson giving him a reason to get angry here. Still 2 gone in the bottom of the second. Runners at first and second for the Spartans' number 8 hitter, Royce Ando.
And this is a rivalry series. We've seen tempers flare a little bit in the first 2 games. Yesterday, Nick Poirier not too happy with some of the offerings that he was given. Got to be careful here. If you're Michael Hendrickson, calm down a little bit, get out of this inning despite these control issues.
Runners at first and second here. 1-0 the count to Ando as the lefty Hendrickson comes together from the stretch. Looks back to second and now delivers towards the plate. It's a grounder to Berdar. Should get them out of the inning. The flip over to second gets the force out. As Hendrickson retires the side, he hit 2, but he gets out of it as the Spartans strand 2. We head to the top of the third. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. We're still scoreless in East Lansing.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? Amid the chaos? Or is the best time perhaps today? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Juice, Mom! Juice, juice, juice! Mommy, why are we going to the store? Mom, I want juice! Mom! Juice, juice, juice! Mommy! Juice, juice, Mom! Juice, juice.
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. That's right, the car seat. A car seat isn't one size fits all. You have to have the right seat based on your child's age, weight, and height. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. But there's a website that gives you all the information you need. safercar.gov/the right seat. You'll find out about types of seats, when to have a seat rear-facing, when to switch it to forward-facing, when it's time for a booster seat, and when it's time for your child to ride in the back seat with a seatbelt. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat. That's safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Major key alert! Don't ever play yourself. You want to get that paper to secure the bag? You better turn in that paper and get an A+.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com.
The key is to make it, so make it.
Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Leading off for Michigan, batting 8th, the second baseman, number 15, Jimmy Kerr.
Top of the third here at McLean Stadium. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. Leo Blavin alongside Kevin Klein. As we start the third inning, Jimmy Kerr, the second baseman, leading things off here as he swings in, tips one back into the netting behind home plate. Good start to the game for Walter Borkovich. That's his 24th pitch so far. Has given up just 2 hits to the Wolverines. As we start the third inning, Michigan looking to wrap up the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament with a win over the green and white here this afternoon. The 0-1 paints the black on the outside part of the plate. 0-2 against Jimmy Kerr, who's getting his second straight start at second base after K.O. Thomas re-aggravated that hand injury back on Thursday. Jimmy Kerr offers at the 0-2 pitch over the outside part of the plate. Doesn't connect, and he goes down swinging.
Yeah, not a great at-bat from Jimmy Kerr. Looked a little uncomfortable, and Borkovich, good job changing eye level, changing speed, and really utilizing that outer third against the left-handed hitting Kerr.
Harrison Wenson, who has 2 RBIs already in this series, 1 for 5 at the plate, gets his first at-bat here in the regular season finale between Michigan State and Michigan. We're still scoreless. Here in the top of the third, Wenson offers at the first pitch he sees, sends it into center field. Shy of the warning track is Brandon Hughes for out number 2.
A lot of room out there to roam for Brandon Hughes, and that was just a lazy fly ball. But Wenson, a fly ball hitter, I would say. A lot of pop out of him. Just got under it there. Borkovich really working through this Michigan lineup pretty well and getting some help from his defense.
Just 4 pitches so far here in the third inning. We'll see if Bivens tries to drag out his at-bat. The leadoff man grounded out to the second baseman, Dan Durkin, back in the first. As Borkovich's offering is high and outside, 1-0. Bivens has scored 3 times himself this series, offers at the 1-0 pitch and gets underneath it, 1-1. The 1-1 is popped up into left field. It's tracking foul, and it will end up in the Michigan State bullpen along the left field line. The wind blowing out towards center field this afternoon, but not enough really to impact today's play. We saw a gusty wind out towards right on Thursday that carried a few balls out of here. But today, certainly a wind that should favor the pitchers. As Borkovich looks for his second strikeout of the inning, it would be his third of the game. The 1-2 to Bivens. Inside, just missing the zone to even the count at 2-2.
Looked very similar to the pitch that Johnny Slater took in his first at-bat that was called a strike. But a good eye up there from Bivens, a good leadoff hitter, a patient hitter.
The 2-2 well framed by the catcher Matt Byers, but not enough to fool Mark Ewell. It missed high at the letters to run the count full. Borkovich and Bivens, 2 Michigan natives in this in-state rivalry game. The payoff pitch. Grounded to the shortstop, and it eats up Ando. It will hop off his shoulder into center field, and Bivens extends the inning with the second error of the game for the Spartans. This time it's the shortstop, Ando, who just took a high hop off the chest.
The center fielder.
And that will bring up Johnny Slater.
And you know what? Right off the bat, when I saw Jake Bivens make contact and Ando was trying to field that ball and get in front of it, I thought it was going to be a tough play from the shortstop because he was putting himself in a position to take a short hop rather than backing up a few steps and trying to get a more favorable bounce.
And a tough play off the bat, too, is that one first hop just on that infield dirt. You usually see it skid a few times before it reaches those middle infielders, but as you said, just one short hop, and it was a high hop off the natural infield dirt here in East Lansing, and Ando couldn't field it cleanly. So it extends the inning for the 2-hitter Johnny Slater, who flew out to center back in the first. We'll see if the Wolverines can make the Spartans pay here on the air. Bivens remains at first base, looking to run on any contact. The 1-0 pitch from Borkovich to Slater, delayed by a pickoff over to first.
Yeah, Borkovich not afraid to throw over there.
We've already seen him have an error on a pickoff that allowed Michael Bernard to reach second back in the first inning. We'll see how cautious he is throwing over, but so far it doesn't appear his confidence rattled as always. He goes over there again. Bivens dives in head first and safely. The count remains 1-0 between Borkovich and Slater, with Bivens over at first base. The 1-0 delivery, grounded towards the first baseman, McGuire, but foul. With Michigan's starting pitcher, Michael Hendrickson, over on the far side of that dugout, fielding it on a couple hops. Gets back in the dugout. He'll come out to start the bottom of the third that Michigan's looking to delay even further. Bivens, who reached on a error by the shortstop Ando, is forced to dive back in head first once again over at the bag. Borkovich has thrown over there now 3 times. Make it 4. The tag applied late. Too late to even warrant a call from the first base umpire, Perry Costello. As Borkovich looks to gain his confidence back, the count 1-1 between him and Michigan center fielder Johnny Slater. Bivens will go. Will have to hop over the baseball. That's grounded over to Durkin, the second baseman. Delivers to first, and Slater is retired. The Spartans strand 1 Wolverine base runner. We head to the bottom of the third, still scoreless between the Wolverines and Michigan State. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby. Goo goo gaga. Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you gonna do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. Find out how at heart.org/bloodpressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plotto and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey! The dreaded splash fight. It's Dad o'clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Bottom of the third here at McLean Stadium on the campus of Michigan State University. Michael Hendrickson back on the rubber. Delivers his 29th pitch of the afternoon to Michigan State's first baseman, Zach McGuire, the 9-hitter for the green and white. Takes a first pitch strike, 0-1. The 0-1 offering grounded over to Lugbauer. The third baseman makes a diving stop and delivers it across the diamond for the first out of the inning. Nice play for the New York native over on the hot corner.
What a luxury to have Drew Lugbauer at third base, have that range, and have an arm to be able to get up on your feet so quickly and make a strong delivery over across the diamond to Jake Bivens. Initially, I thought Michael Brodeur might have had a better play at that ball, but if you have the confidence that Drew Lugbauer has in the field, use it, and that's what he did. Great play.
That'll bring up the leadoff man for the Spartans today, Brandon Hughes, who grounded on a bunt for a hit attempt that was well dealt with by Michigan's starting pitcher, Michael Hendrickson, who continues to be confident on the rubber. The 0-1 pitch upcoming as he gets a first pitch strike. Looking. This one grounded and a hop well dealt with by the shortstop Berdar, who fielded it with the backhand and delivers over to first. 2 gone.
Well, that's something Michael Berdar was able to do in this bottom half of the third that Ando was unable to do at shortstop for the Spartans in the top half of the third. Berdar fielded that short hop beautifully.
And I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a better defensive infield in the conference. Certainly you're not going to find a better defensive shortstop than Michael Berdar, who remains absolutely fantastic at that position. And as you said, a luxury for Michigan's pitching staff to know that they can afford to let balls go in play, but not one like this. This is hot off the bat of Bryce Kelly, and it will go nearly to the center field warning track, and it's 4-0-3 out there. He got all of that baseball off the end of the bat to extend the inning. A 2-out double into right center for Bryce Kelly, who's now 2 for 2 on the afternoon.
Johnny Slater, great speed in center field for Michigan, but you know what? He was a little shallow and a little shaded to the left field, and Bryce Kelly just dumped it right in between Slater and Engelman in right. And Hendrickson has been solid throughout the entire day. One of the puzzles he's been unable to solve, though, Bryce Kelly, he has both of the Spartan hits.
That's just his 7th double of the season. Brings up the designated hitter, Chad Ross Kelly. Ross Kelly grounded into a double play back in the first, takes a first pitch strike here in the third. As Hendrickson looks to escape the 2-out jam and strand a runner at second base in the form of Bryce Kelly. The 0-1 pitch to Chad Ross Kelly is grounded to Berdar. As fundamental as it gets on a couple of hops over to first to retire the side. The Spartans strand one. We head to the top of the fourth. Still looking for our first run of the game here between Michigan and Michigan State. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Maize and Blue Baseball.
Half of the third inning.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hey y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. I love that country music connects people all over this great nation, but unfortunately so does something else, childhood hunger. 15 million children struggle with hunger in America. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks works to rescue our surplus food to help provide billions of meals to families in need across the country. Join the fight against hunger at feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Start of the fourth inning here in East Lansing. Michigan and Michigan State still scoreless. Leading things off for the Maize and Blue here in the fourth inning is Michael Berdar, who singled back in the first. Back out there is Walter Borkovich. Pitch number 37 is a called strike, as Berdar was showing bunt but pulled back at the last second for that low pitch at the knees. For a called strike from home plate umpire Mark Ewell. The 0-1 popped up on the shallow outfield grass. The center fielder calls off Durkin as Hughes camps under it for out number one. So one gone for Michigan's hard-hitting Drew Lugbauer. The third baseman struck out swinging back in the first, looking to belt one out of here. It's shallow down that right field line, just 3-0-2 to the foul pole. And Lugbauer will look to pull one with the right field shift on. Durkin, the second baseman, playing in shallow right field, and he does just that, going opposite field by a diving shortstop, Royce Ando, just to the left of that second base bag, and they were really playing for the pull there with Ando playing to the right of that second base bag, and Lugbauer takes advantage with a one-out single back up the middle.
And I love that swing from Drew Lugbauer because that's exactly what I was talking about in the first inning. Beat the shift, and that average is going to skyrocket. It's already in the 280, 290 range, but we saw it dip a little bit earlier in the year, mid-season, to the 260 range, and that's because he fell in love with pulling the ball on the ground. Once he starts opening up the entire field, that average will regain or reach that 300 level.
Yeah, he's a guy whose batting average has dipped, as you said, because teams have really started to play for that pull shift, but he takes advantage there, sending it to the opposite side of the infield for a one-out single. That brings up Miles Lewis, who takes a first pitch out of the zone. As that one misses as well, 2-0. The 2-0 misses inside as well. Borkovic working himself into a bit of trouble here with Lugbauer over at first base, and now Lewis with a certain hitter's count. We'll see if he has the green light here. Ahead 3-0. Borkovic from the stretch delivers low and inside, and that's a 4-pitch walk to Miles Lewis. So runners at first and second here for the designated hitter, Nick Poirier, as the Wolverines threatening to plate the first run of the game here in the top of the fourth.
And Borkovic here just needs to regain his composure. He was so efficient through the first 3 1/3 innings, kind of lost it over the past 5 or 6 pitches. And I still think he has plenty in the tank. His season high in pitches is 58. He's sitting at 44 right now.
He'll get a mound visit from the pitching coach, Skylar Mead. Obviously worth noting that Borkovic, as we've touched on throughout this game, this is his first start of the year. He has previous starting experience. This is his 13th career start. However, he's a guy that, for the most part this season, has been asked to come out of the bullpen, where he's been absolutely dominant. Second in the Big Ten, coming into this game with a 2.19 ERA, but in his first start, perhaps fatigue starting to play a factor. As you said, it was smooth sailing through the first 3 innings, but now a 4-pitch walk after a single up the middle from Drew Lugbauer, as the Wolverines in business here in the top half of this 4th inning. But it's still scoreless, and he still has a ground ball that could get him out of this inning. With the double play very much in play, Skylar Mead jogs back to the Michigan State dugout, and we'll get back to action with Michigan's designated hitter Nick Poirier at the plate.
And maybe the guy you want at the plate for Michigan is Nick Poirier, because he grounded into a double play, a 6-3 double play back in the 2nd inning.
And we'll see if Borkovic can dial up the ground ball once again with runners at first and second, 1 gone here in the top of the 4th. The first pitch he shows to Poirier is over the black on the outside corner, 0-1.
And definitely fooled Poirier on that one, going with the off-speed pitch, going away from Poirier, not trying to just get or throw a get-me-over fastball.
The 0-1, swing and a miss, 0-2. Nice response from that mound visit by Walter Borkovic, getting ahead of the Wolverines' DH right here. 0-2, looking for his 3rd strikeout of the afternoon. Trying to keep the Michigan base runners at first and second. The 0-2 pitch from the stretch. Grounded, a soft tapper towards the first baseman. Lewis able to advance to second, and Lugbauer over to third, but the first baseman, Zach McGuire, applies the tag to Poirier, who effectively moves the base runners over, but with 2 outs in the inning, a big at-bat coming up for the 7-hitter, Jonathan Engelman, still looking for his first hit in this series.
And notice what Borkovic did in that at-bat. He started Poirier outside, he went back inside, then he went something soft down, induced the ground ball, back to his initial mechanics, working inside and outside the entire plate. And that's what's led to his success so far in this one.
2 gone, but 2 on in scoring position for Jonathan Engelman, who grounds it weakly over to Dan Durkin at second base, flips it over to McGuire at first to retire the side as the Wolverines strand 2. Borkovic works the high wire act to perfection. We head to the bottom of the 4th. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
For the Wolverines in the top half of the 4th.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression, My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
It helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
and will give someone in my community
A second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Today we decided to walk to school. At the corner, we waited to cross the street. The stoplight counted down. 15, 41, 31, 13. We took a left on Carroll Garden Street. Garden Street? Loud music was coming from a car.
Danny's a smart kid, but he gets so distracted.
There were so many other sounds, I didn't know what to focus on.
Danny, Earth to Danny. Suddenly he realized he forgot his homework again.
I left my homework on the table.
At the school steps, we hugged goodbye. I really hope he doesn't have another bad day at school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free online resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Get personalized recommendations, practical tips, daily access to experts, and more. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
Dan Durkin, who got the last ground out for the Spartans back in the top half of this fourth inning, is leading things off for the green and white here in the bottom half of the frame. We're still scoreless between Michigan and Michigan State. I'm Leo Blavin, alongside me, Kevin Klein, here at East Lansing's McLean Baseball Stadium on the campus of Michigan State University. Durkin shows bunt and pulls back on the first pitch he sees here in the fourth from Michael Hendrickson. That pitch high and outside.
And I assume this is something that we're going to start seeing a little more of as Durkin takes a strike on the outer third, is because it's a 0-0 game, both managers are going to have to manufacture some runs, do some things maybe they're not used to doing, put some hit and runs on, show bunt. Although Durkin swings through that one, 1-2.
Durkin, the second baseman for the green and white, was hit by a pitch back in the second inning. Takes a swing and misses at that pitch. Well outside. No chance of getting any contact on that one. And Michael Hendrickson has his second strikeout of the afternoon.
And good job by Hendrickson. Everything that Durkin saw was away. He wasn't able to have anything in his wheelhouse to put over the fence. Everything away and soft from Hendrickson. He's really pitching a good game so far. The first 10 outs for him coming relatively easily. Only 40 pitches.
A good economical start, one that Michigan needed after going through a few relievers last night, including their setup man, Mac Lozer, and their closer, Jackson Lamb. Still expect at least Lamb to be available if needed, which right now it appears will certainly be the case with this scoreless game so far through now 4 1/3 innings.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw out of the Michigan bullpen yesterday. Lozer especially, 3 solid innings.
The 1-1 swung on and missed by Matt Byers, who struck out swinging in the second. He's now behind 1-2 against Hendrickson, has to get defensive at the plate here. The 1-2 pitch roped down the left field line. That's a base hit for Matt Byers. He makes a big turn for second before tracking back, and he will stay there, but a nice piece of hitting there for the catcher.
The third baseman, number 2.
Which brings up Marty McKenna. As the second time we've seen a hard hit ball over the head of the third baseman, Lugbauer, in this game. Still scoreless, 0-0 between Michigan and Michigan State. The final game of the regular season for these two sides. The final game of the season for Michigan State. But the Wolverines looking to secure their number 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament with a win this afternoon. Bakina, who grounded into a fielder's choice back in the second as the Wolverines weren't able to turn the 6-4-3 double play. The 1-0 pitch misses high and inside, 2-0. Byers looking to run over at first. 2 for 4 on stolen base attempts so far this year. The 2-0 pitch also high, according to home plate umpire Mark Ewell. 3-0.
Well, now I think if you're Byers, you take one, but if it ends up being a strike and a 3-1 count, maybe a hit and run opportunity for the Spartans. Get Byers in motion over at first.
The 3-0 pitch inside for a called strike, 3-1. Now we'll see if Bakina keeps the bat on his shoulder. It's the righty readies to face against the left-handed Michael Hendrickson. The 3-1 on its way. Misses low and outside. 2 men on, 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th between Michigan and Michigan State as Bakina reaches on a 5-pitch walk that will bring Michigan's pitching coach Sean Kenny out to the rubber for a visit, as will the entire infield. Hendrickson, just as we're praising how efficient he's been, now ready to deliver his 50th pitch and has himself in a bit of trouble with runners at first and second here in the bottom of the 4th and just 1 out.
Yeah, very similar to what we saw in the top half of the 4th with Michigan. They were unable to cash in with 2 on and 1 out, and Hendrickson will hope that it'll be the same result as the top half of the 4th. But with the bottom of the lineup coming up, Hendrickson just needs to regain the zone and locate that fastball, and he should be fine.
He'll face off against Dan Shimoleski, who's just 1 for 7 on the weekend, was hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance. But he has a chance to give the Spartans the first run of this game here in the bottom of the 4th. Runners at first and second for the Spartans right fielder, who's batting just .250 with runners in scoring position this year. He does have 25 RBIs, but this won't get one, as Bedard, the shortstop, makes a tough throw with his momentum going away from the second base bag. He does get Bakina out at second, but runners will be on the corners as Kerr had no chance to make a throw over to first. Still a nice play by Bedard to keep it on the infield and ultimately get an out. 2 gone here in the bottom of the 4th.
Well, he got an out. I think it would have been easier if he was going to get an out, was to go to third base, and Lugbauer was covering the bag, and that would have allowed Michigan to get the lead runner. I don't think there was any chance Michigan would have turned a double play there, but I guess if you're Michael Bedard, getting out where you can, where you feel most comfortable going, and that was second base. And at the end of the day, an out's an out, and there are 2 outs now. So now it's all Hendrickson has to do is get Royce Ando here.
With the Spartans forcing just a fielder's choice, so there's still life, and now we have our first run of the game. Royce Ando lines one into center field. Matt Byers comes home to score from third. And just like that, MSU has a 1-0 lead here in East Lansing. Good piece of hitting there by Royce Ando off the end of the bat. And the Spartans, who plated 4 runs with 2 outs in the first meeting back on Thursday, played their first run of this game with 2 outs here in the 4th.
Well, it's easier said than done. I said all Hendrickson had to do was get Ando, unable to do so. And that's what you love to see if you're a manager. The bottom of the order producing, because that makes it so much easier for the leadoff hitter and the top 4 in a lineup to get the job done as well.
And now we'll see how Hendrickson responds to his first real adversity in this game. He'll face off against the number 9 hitter for the green and white, Zach McGuire. After Royce Ando's 2-out single back into center field plates the first run of this game, it's MSU 1, U of M nothing here in the bottom of the 4th. Still 2 gone with runners at first and second for McGuire as the 0-1 pitch from Hendrickson misses high and outside. 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. A late swing by McGuire, who missed everything. It also got in the dirt, but went and kept it in front of him. 1-2. Runners at first and second. The Spartans looking to avoid stranding 2. They already have 1 run plated this inning. McGuire looking to extend it. Readies to face the 1-2 pitch from Hendrickson. The delivery swung on and missed in the dirt. Wenson will throw it over to first, and that will retire the side. So the Spartans strand 2, but Royce Ando with a seeing eye single up the middle gives the Spartans a 1-0 lead as we head to the top of the 5th on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
For the Spartans in the
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative, and that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Top of the 5th here at McLean Baseball Stadium on the campus of Michigan State University. The Spartans get the first run of this game in the bottom of the 4th on a Royce Ando 2-out single. Now it's time for the Michigan bats to come to life. Leading things off here in the 5th is the second baseman Jimmy Kerr, who struck out swinging in the 3rd. He's behind 0-1 against the senior starter on senior day here at Michigan State, Walter Borkovich. His 0-1 pitch breaks low and outside, 1-1. As Nebraska, meanwhile, out on the East Coast at Penn State, on top 17-0. So Michigan certainly not playing for a Big Ten regular season crown anymore as Kerr grounds this one into right field. A base hit, a good way to start the 5th inning for the Maize and Blue. But what that means in terms of that Nebraska score is that the Cornhuskers will win the Big Ten regular season crown. Michigan now needs to win this game simply to secure the number 2 seed in next weekend's Big Ten tournament. Still a lot to play for, though, for the Maize and Blue. And a good way to start the inning after giving up 1 run. Jimmy Kerr gets a single to lead things off in the top half of this 5th inning.
So you're calling that Nebraska game?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say at this point that Nebraska should hang on against the Big Ten's cellar dweller, the Nittany Lions.
I'm not a big fan of counting my chickens before they hatch, but if you say so, Leo, I'll take your word for it.
Michigan, meanwhile, just needs to take care of business here for anything else to matter. Trailing at 1-0. We're in the top of the 5th here at Michigan State's McLean Baseball Stadium. The Spartans looking for the regular season sweep of home games against the Wolverines. The 0-1 pitch to Harrison Wenson, in there for a called strike, 0-2. Now he has to get defensive at the plate. We'll see if Kerr's a threat to run as well. He's 2 for 4 in stolen base attempts this year. Borkovich readies and delivers the 0-2. It's swung on and fouled. He'll stay alive at 0-2.
Good defensive swing from Wenson, and if you're Harrison Wenson, you're down in the count 0-2. Now your job is just be productive. It doesn't have to be a base hit or a home run. Just make a productive out and move that runner up.
First, a pickoff move. Kerr dives back safely. Borkovich sets from the stretch. The 0-2 to Wenson. Swing and a miss. He chases one low and outside. Looked like a slider out of the hand of Borkovich. The first out here in the 5th. Kerr remains at first base for the top of the order, which means Jake Bivens is coming to the dish.
Appreciate your support.
Looks
First
like
baseman,
there
number 18,
is some activity in the
Jake
Michigan
Bivens.
State bullpen. As Borkovich's pitch count now at 54.
Another pickoff coming. Ethan Landon, the right-handed redshirt junior from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, who transferred to Michigan State from Kansas State, is the right-hander up and getting loose in the bullpen. We'll see how long the leash is for Borkovich. Kerr reaching on a leadoff single to start this 5th inning, but Harrison Wenson struck out swinging, and now Michigan's leadoff man Jake Bivens, who's 1 for 2 so far today, is behind 0-1 in this at-bat against Borkovich. The righty sets and fires over to first base to keep Kerr honest. Righty on lefty matchup should play into Michigan's favor. The 0-1 misses low. Nice catch made by Byers behind the plate, 1-1.
And Michigan's still looking for that big hit, that extra base hit today. 5 singles for the Wolverines, but for a lineup that is so potent, so much extra base pop, we just have not seen it against Borkovich today.
The 1-1 grounded over to first. It gets by McGuire. And Kerr not stopping at all, going in for third, slides in safely. Bivens, who tried to take second, dives in head first safely. He nearly got caught being a bit over-aggressive, but he was fortunate to dive back in. He thought that throw over to third would make its way over to that bag. It was cut off wisely by the Spartan defense, and Kerr has himself in scoring position over at third base, and
Johnny Slater.
or Bivens rather, is aboard safely with his 2nd straight single. The Wolverine offense in business here in the top of the 5th. Runners on the corners, 1 out for Johnny Slater. Slater, who's scored 3 runs, looking to plate his first RBI of the weekend. With Jimmy Kerr over at third base. But as you said, the Wolverines still awaiting that big hit in these 2 road games here in East Lansing. We'll see if Slater can be the one to deliver it, but he tried to do so there, took a big cut, missed everything, 0-1.
Well, it was a very long swing. It took a long time for that barrel of the bat to move through the zone, and that's why Slater came up with nothing. Slater prone to strike out a little bit, 44 of those on the year.
Also has 44 RBIs in this campaign. The 0-1 misses, 1-1.
The 1+ with Johnny Slater in the left-handed batter's box, though, is he has tremendous speed, so double play going to be very difficult for the Spartan defense to turn.
And with McGuire, the first baseman, holding Bivens at first, there's a big gap between the second baseman and the first baseman for the lefty if he's so inclined to pull it into right. We've already seen 2 singles go that way so far this inning. Another pickoff over to first base. Bivens dives back safely.
It must be something about Jake Bivens that frightens Borkovich a little bit, because Bivens now on base for the 2nd time, and there's probably been 4 or 5 pickoff throws in his direction.
The 1-1 popped up into center field. We'll see if it's deep enough to allow Kerr to tag. The center fielder, Hughes, charging in hard. Kerr will be held up. The throw cut off to home by the first baseman, McGuire. Slater not able to get the job done. 2 gone here in the top of the 5th. The runners remain on the corners.
See, I like the idea there from Johnny Slater, sacrifice fly, talking in that direction. The problem is the wind is blowing in. You saw Brandon Hughes in center field start pretty deep and then have to run in to make that catch, and by the time he secured the ball, all of his momentum was coming towards home plate. If Kerr would have tried to take home, he would have been out by 10 to 15 feet.
Berdar, who already has 2 RBIs in this series, looking for his 3rd here. Trying to extend the inning. 2 gone, runners on the corners. Michigan State leads at 1-0 here in the top of the 5th, but the Wolverines threatening with a runner 90 feet away from tying this game in the form of Jimmy Kerr. Berdar takes a pitch, lines it over to the third baseman, Bakina, who throws it across the diamond. And the Wolverines strand 2. Borkovich does it again, escapes the jam. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Michigan State leads Michigan 1-0 on WCBN Sports coverage of Wolverines baseball.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop in a new home. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's best birthday present. When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium. When I grow up, I want to be a warm place on a cold day. When I grow up, I want to be a fancy backsplash. I want to be a bike that races around the country. When I grow up, I want to be a bench on a forest trail. I want to be a rocking chair on a sunny porch. I want to be a skyscraper. I want to be When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. A public service advertisement brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it, and you can hear it repeatedly without feeling anything. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural or inborn response from you. Save the food, because 40% of all food in the US never gets eaten. Save the food. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Michigan still looking for that ever-elusive victory here in East Lansing, as Michigan State's won the last 2 meetings here, and the Spartans have continued to be the thorn in Michigan's side, although the Wolverines still lead the all-time series, 197 wins, 106 losses, and 2 ties. But Michigan State has gotten the better of the Wolverines so far in their 2 home meetings, with Michigan State getting the win 6-1 on Thursday and now have a 1-0 lead as we start the bottom of the 5th. Brandon Hughes leading things off for the Spartans. He's 0 for 2 today. The count 1-1 against him as Hendrickson, the lefty, delivers the 1-1 low and outside, 1-2. Hendrickson paints the black on the outside corner, 2-2. But Hendrickson has not been the problem. It's been the Michigan offense, which has stranded 6 runners so far today, as Hughes puts a charge into this one, into right field, tracking foul, but it falls just foul. That was a fair ball if I've ever seen one. It appeared to land squarely on the chalk out in right field, but the first base umpire, Perry Costello, put the arms up right away, but I don't know about that one, Kevin Klein.
Couple difficult calls from Costello today at first base. I thought it was fair.
It looked to me like it was fair by a mile. I thought it landed flush with the chalk out and right.
I definitely saw some chalk or the white pop up a little bit in that outfield grass. A really tough play, a long run from Jonathan Engelman to even come close to that ball. But a lucky break for the Wolverines.
And Hughes, with his speed, almost certainly would have gone into third safely. Now the 2-2 pitch. Misses low and inside to run the count full. Here's the payoff pitch. That one in there, called strike 3. So Hendrickson gets a call to go his way and takes advantage with his 4th strikeout of the afternoon as Hughes goes down looking. That's really close based on the couple replays we've seen, but I think Michigan got a break there.
You know what? They took advantage of it, though, and Harrison Wenson knew that payoff pitch was right in the zone, because as soon as he caught it, he was throwing it down to Bivens to go around the horn.
1-0 now the count for Bryce Kelly, who's 2 for 2 with a single and a double. 1-0 over the heart of the plate, 1-1. So Michigan catches a break there on that previous at-bat from Hughes. The Spartans still lead it, though, 1-0 here in the bottom of the 5th. Kelly offers it a curveball, low and outside, 1-2.
And I looked for Hendrickson to attack Kelly a little differently than what we've seen in the first 2 at-bats, as he's 2 for 2 today.
The 1-2. Swung on weakly off the end of the bat to stay alive.
And I think that's Hendrickson's plan as well, because we've seen a lot of off-speed pitches going with that slider away or the changeup down. And it seems to be working so far, as it's a 1-2 count.
Hendrickson, who's had at least 5 strikeouts in his previous 4 starts, make it 5 straight as he gets Bryce Kelly, his second strikeout victim here in the 5th inning, and now he has 5 on the game.
And that's how you make someone look foolish, because the entire at-bat was off-speed things or pitches, and then that strike 3 pitch was a fastball at the letters, and for Bryce Kelly, it looks like a good pitch to hit until you can't catch up to it.
Now Chad Ross Kelly, the designated hitter, who's 0 for 2 today, takes a first pitch out of the zone, 1-0. Hendrickson looking calm, cool, and collected here. Induces a fly ball into center field. Slater makes the play. 3 up, 3 down, go the Spartans. A nice response from Hendrickson after giving up a run in the 4th. He sends them down in order in the 5th. Spartans still lead at 1-0 as the Wolverines come to the plate in the 6th, looking for some life out of those bats. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. This cat makes me make art. He's always motivating me to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. He's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Keyboard Cat, YouTube star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Start yours today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Thanks.
Michigan State returns to the field here in the 6th. Walter Borkovich, his 62nd pitch of the afternoon, paints the black on the outside corner. 0-1 against Michigan's hard-hitting Drew Lugbauer, who's been stuck on that team-high 11 home runs for quite a while. No better time for his 12th than right here with a 1-0 deficit facing the Wolverines. He won't get it, though. A high tapper over to the first baseman McGuire for the first out here in the 6th.
Well, it was a brief at-bat, and I was going to say this is a good opportunity for Michigan with 4, 5, and 6 due up, all of them left-handed hitters against the righty Borkovich, the meat of the order, to get something going. But if you're Michigan, you got to take advantage of some of the opportunities. You've left 6 on base so far, 2 in each of the last 2 innings. It's about time to string some hits together, and that starts with the meat of the order.
So Drew Lugbauer goes down on a grounder to start the inning. That brings up Miles Lewis. Lewis swings and misses at an off-speed pitch he was well ahead of. as Michigan has 6 hits, but they've stranded 6 on base so far in this game. As you said, just timely hitting not coming so far for the Maize and Blue. The 0-1 grounded to the second baseman. It's a tough play, but Durkin up to the challenge for out number 2.
Well, Borkovich looking cool, calm, and collected, and has already surpassed his season high in innings pitched.
Number 28, Nick Poirier.
And pitches thrown, and it's a shame that his first start is coming on senior day because he is looking very efficient out there and comfortable on the mound in the starting role.
No better time, though, for a lasting memory than your final game against your in-state rival. The Traverse City native certainly knows how much this rivalry means to these two programs. And it would be quite a way to go out and end your Spartan career with a winning effort against your in-state foe. He's had 0-1 against the DH, Nick Poirier, who's 0 for 2. The 0-1 pitch on the outside corner, 0-2.
And that's the thing, that's the beauty about a good rivalry in any sport. Throw out the records, doesn't matter where you're ranked. Each team going to give their best.
The 0-2 grounded to the first baseman, McGuire, flips it underhanded over to Borkovich, covering first base. 3 up, 3 down, go the Wolverines. It's that easy for the green and white. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Michigan State still leads at 1-0 on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro-synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that.
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right, I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, you know? Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Second baseman, Dan.
Well, we weren't sure exactly what to expect from today's game, with Michigan State playing their last game regardless of the outcome, and Michigan trying to secure that 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. But it's been a pitcher's duel so far between Michigan's Michael Hendrickson and Michigan State's Walter Borkovich. Borkovich has yet to allow a run. Hendrickson gave up a run on a 2-out single by Royce Ando back in the 4th inning. The Spartans hold that 1-0 lead still here in the bottom of the 6th. Dan Durkin leading things off. He's 0 for 1, was hit by a pitch in the 2nd, struck out swinging in the 4th, takes an 0-1 pitch. Eye level. 1-1. The 1-1 grounded over to Kerr at second base on the shallow outfield grass is where he fields it. Delivers to first, 1 gone.
And Hendrickson's pitch count now at 70, and just in case he gets into a little bit of trouble,
number 28,
activity in the Michigan bullpen, that's Tommy Henry and Jack Weisenberger loosening up a couple of freshmen for the Wolverines.
Freshmen, also 2 Michigan natives, as it's been all Michiganders on the mound for each side so far, with the 2 starters both hailing from the Mitten State. 1 gone here for Matt Byers, who ropes one over to third. This time Lugbauer able to make the play with the glove. 2 gone.
The third baseman, number 2, Marty Bakina.
That brings up Marty Bakina.
A lot of hard-hit balls in the direction of Drew Lugbauer today. Finally,
one that he
can handle, exactly.
And Lugbauer, certainly no small body, standing at 6'3", but he's had to clear his extension. That one, though, at eye level, an easy play for the second out of this 6th inning. Bakina takes a first pitch strike, 0-1. Nice inning being put together so far by Hendrickson at just 73 pitches. Looking to get out of the 6th inning unscathed. Well ahead of that one was Bakina. Grounds it into the Michigan State dugout area. 0-2 as that one ricocheted all the way out into the left field corner. So the left fielder Miles Lewis will track it down and flip it over towards the Michigan State bullpen. He tracks back to his position out in left field. A slight delay for the 0-2 pitch between Hendrickson and Bakina. Hendrickson looking for strikeout number 6 this afternoon. The 0-2 from the windup. In the dirt, blocked by Wenson. Bakina didn't offer at him.
And how good, I know Hendrickson still has plenty left in the tank, but how good do you have to feel if you're Eric Bakich and the rest of the Michigan coaching staff? Because after the first 2 games of these series where Bernard goes out, gives up 5 runs in 4 innings, Jaski looked a little shaky yesterday, the 2 starters for Michigan. Hendrickson has looked dominant. I know he's in line for the loss right now, but he is looking really good, and that has to make Eric Bakich feel a little warm inside going into the Big Ten tourney.
The 1-2 pitch misses to even the count at 2-2. That one low and outside, a breaking ball, 3-2. As you said, though, Hendrickson in line for the loss, but has given up just 4 hits this afternoon. It's just timely hitting that Michigan has not been able to provide. But you have to feel good, a 4-hit, 1-run outing for your starter, whose payoff pitch, a breaking ball over the heart of the plate. And absolutely nothing Bakina could do with that one. He goes down looking. Hendrickson with 6 strikeouts sends us to the 7th. Michigan needing 1 run to tie things up. MSU 1, U of M nothing on the Maize and Blue Baseball Network, WCBN FM, Ann Arbor.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to, are you? Kids, work, listening to the radio. You're busy, which is great because busy people can't get prediabetes. Oh my, I read that wrong. They can. Should have worn my glasses. So visit doihaveprediabetes.org and take a short test, because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
In the top of the 7th inning, right fielder, number 2, Jonathan Engelman.
Jonathan Engelman to lead things off for the Wolverines here as we start the 7th inning. Michigan State still leads the Wolverines 1-0. Jonathan Engelman 0 for 2 so far today as Walter Borkovich back out there just at 68 pitches as we start the 7th. Senior day here in East Lansing, and the senior right-hander has looked absolutely brilliant on the mound today. He's ahead 0-1 on a first pitch that Engelman was taking all the way for a strike.
Yeah, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't break it. Leave Borkovich out there. He's thrown really well, and he's fresh. He hasn't pitched in 7 days, so you know he's got enough in that arm.
The 0-1 pitch, belt high and inside, 1-1. But as you said, with the pitch count so low, granted it's his first start of the year, but he has 12 starts in his career entering this afternoon's game, and he's never going to throw again in a Michigan State uniform. Might as well use him for all he's worth. And he's looked very good against the in-state rival Michigan Wolverines. The 1-1 is popped up in the infield, trying to clear the net behind the plate, and it will get a piece of that net, so Engelman stays alive. The count, though, not in his favor at 1-2.
And if you're Jake Boss Jr., he has to have confidence in Borkovich because there's very little, if any, activity in Michigan State's bullpen. So it looks like this is going to be Borkovich's inning with the bottom third of the order due up. The question becomes, if someone reaches, does Boss Jr. allow Borkovich to deal with the top of the lineup for the 4th time? And I think that answer has to be no, because Bivens, Slater, Berdar are too talented to be fooled 4 times.
The 1-2 lined into right field. Will it drop? It will not. The right fielder, Shimoleski, had a good break on the baseball and catches it in the power alley out in right center field. And with that wall all the way out at 385, that one landed well shy of the warning track into the right fielder's glove for out number 1.
And Shimoleski, a good play. Like you said, a good break, and it also went in his favor because that ball was tailing to his glove rather than away from him as it was to Brandon Hughes. That's why it was a better play for the right fielder to take it instead of the center fielder.
That brings up the second baseman, Jimmy Kerr, whose single led off the 5th inning. He was stranded at third base as the tying run. He's 1 for 2 with a strikeout back in the 3rd. Ahead 1-0 here as that first pitch from Borkovich misses low and outside. The Wolverines looking for a late rally here. 8 outs left to work with for the Maize and Blue. The count now 1-1 as that pitch at the knees for a called strike. The 1-1 from the windup. Swung on and missed, 1-2. For the Scottsdale, Arizona native, Jimmy Kerr, who continues to start at second base in place of the injured Akeo Thomas, who got the start at second on Thursday after being out since April 22nd, but he re-aggravated that hand injury. Not out there today. Kerr takes his place in the lineup and sends a 1-2 pitch down the left field line, foul.
And Jimmy Kerr has been a very competent replacement because the mindset has to be, I need to be Jimmy Kerr, the best Jimmy Kerr I can be. Don't try to be Akeo Thomas, steal a bunch of bases, and set the table for the lineup. Kerr in the bottom third of the order and is able to relax a little bit, and he's hitting close to 300 on the year.
Another defensive swing here to keep himself alive at 1-2. Worth mentioning, the last time Akeo Thomas started at second base before suffering that injury was back on April 21st. The last time Michigan was also shut out when they fell to Indiana 1-0. So far the score 1-0 in favor of Michigan State today. Kerr goes down swinging. Borkovich with his 4th strikeout for the senior starter on senior day here at McLean Baseball Stadium. 2 gone here in the 7th.
Kerr swung at the 1-1 pitch, and it was a slider a little below the knees, and Borkovich goes back to that same pitch. This time he smothers it in the dirt, and Kerr again swung on it, and there was absolutely nothing he could do with that pitch. Good game plan so far from Borkovich and the rest of that Michigan State battery.
That brings up the catcher Harrison Wenson, who pops one up and out of play over the Michigan State dugout into the third base stands. Lands safely on the meadow as a few fans in green and white dodging that baseball. 0-1. For Wenson, who's 0 for 2 so far today. Michigan with just 6 hits. They've stranded 6. And they trail by 1 run as Wenson pops this one up. It'll stay in the yard, I believe, this time. The third baseman, Bakina, tracks it down in foul territory, just in front of the Michigan State bullpen, as Borkovich retires the side. He's thrown just 80 pitches. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Stretch time here in East Lansing. The Spartans lead at 1-0 on Michigan Baseball's Student Radio Network, WCBN FM Ann Arbor.
You know what really gets a party started? Indoor baseball. Yeah, just find a broom or a pool cue, and you can use like anything as a ball. Cans, bottles, shoes.
Hey bro, toss me that avocado.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi. I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
Well, before I left my campsite, I was putting out my fire, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear showed up and hugged me?
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. He likes it when people correctly put out their campfires. He's pretty big on wildfire prevention. He's just letting you know you did good with a hug. He's a hugger.
I just got a bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update!
All right, I'm going to let you go now. I've got a lot of ranger stuff to do. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Or maybe he's teething.
Maybe it's just a phase.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
After the 7th inning stretch here at Michigan State McLean Baseball Stadium, the Spartans return to the plate with Dan Shimoleski, who's 0 for 1, was hit by a pitch in the 2nd. The Spartans lead the Michigan Wolverines 1-0. This is the final regular season game of the season for these two sides. This is the last game of the year for the Spartans. Michigan will return to action next weekend in Bloomington at the Big Ten tournament, hoping to secure that 2 seed, but they need to come away with the victory today. So far, their starter, Michael Hendrickson, has not been the problem. Now at 80 pitches, the 81st swung on and missed, 1-2 to Shimoleski.
Yeah, you take away that 4th inning in which Michigan State scored the run where Hendrickson lost a little bit of his control. You take away that inning, and Hendrickson has had a magical performance, just really dominant, mixing up his pitches and catching a lot of the Michigan State hitters off guard. A few backwards Ks on the scorecard.
He's retired 7 straight, but he misses 2 with the count at 1-2 to run the count full. Again, Stan Shimoleski, who reached safely on that hit by pitch in the 7th, has just 1 hit so far in this series. The payoff pitch. In there, called strike 3. Hendrickson has 7 strikeouts for the Maize and Blue this afternoon.
There's another one of those backwards Ks. It was a fastball that stayed on the outer third, right on the edge of the plate, and Shimoleski really was caught off guard by it, I believe.
And that's
he was frozen.
That's his 6th strikeout in the last 4 innings. As he's really dialed it in when the Wolverines need him most. He's kept the lead at just 1 for the green and white, as that pitch is inside over the black of the plate.
And you could tell he's in the rhythm, because as soon as he delivered that last strike, he immediately wanted the ball back.
The 0-1 grounded to the shortstop, Berdar. Tough play, but he makes it look easy, throwing it over to first from the shallow outfield grass for the 2nd out of this inning.
You know
but as you said, Hendrickson taking no time in between pitches. He's really found his groove.
First baseman.
I am going to miss watching Michael Berdar play shortstop for the Wolverines day in and day out. He makes it look so easy at shortstop. Backhand, forehand, strong throws. He does it all. And as a senior leader, that is so important to have at the shortstop position, the captain of the infield.
Zach McGuire, who's 0 for 2 today, comes back to the plate, fouls one in at the hands into the netting behind the plate, 0-1. McGuire, who had a home run back on Thursday as part of that Michigan State 6-1 victory. Looking to increase the lead with one swing of the bat here. The 0-1 misses inside, 1-1. As Michigan has had a tough time plating runs so far in East Lansing. They need just one to tie things up, 2 if they want to lock up that 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. 2 gone here in the bottom of the 7th. The 1-1 to McGuire is popped up into shallow center field. The shortstop Bernard makes the play. 3 up, 3 down, go the Spartans. Hendrickson's retired 10 straight for the Maize and Blue. We'll see if the bats can help him out next. 6 outs left to work with for the Maize and Blue on the Michigan Baseball Student Radio Network, with Michigan State leading 1-0.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda, that's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
it could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The first baseman, number 18, Jake Bivens.
Six outs left to play with for the Maize and Blue. We start the 8th inning with the Michigan State Spartans leading your Michigan Wolverines 1-0. The leadoff man, Jake Bivens, who's 2 for 3 today with back-to-back singles in the 3rd and 5th innings, leading things off here in the 8th. Now behind 0-1 after taking a first pitch strike. The second pitch of this at-bat is low and inside from the starter, Walter Borkovich, who's now in his 8th inning of work at 82 pitches. The count 1-1 to Bivens. As Bivens sends it foul towards the Michigan dugout. Borkovich, who delivers from the stretch, making his first start of the year, usually a reliever who entered this game with the second best ERA in the Big Ten at 2.19. It's now dipped to 1.92. He's been spectacular. The 1-2 pitch, looking for his 5th strikeout. Misses outside. Bivens doesn't chase.
And one thing that has really put Michigan in a hole so far is that Borkovich has been so good getting ahead of Michigan hitters, and it's a big difference when you start at bat 1-0 versus 0-1, and Borkovich has been on the right side of that one.
The 2-2, a breaking ball inside, called strike 3. As Borkovich has strikeout number 5. 5 outs left for the Wolverines, who trail 1-0 to Michigan State here in the 8th.
Now, the silver lining for Michigan is that this is the top of the order. Slater, Berdard, Lugbauer will get another at-bat. Miles Lewis will for sure get another at-bat too. So it's the right part of the order for Michigan. It's just whether or not they're going to be able to perform and string together some good at-bats. And if Borkovich has anything to say about it, they won't.
Slater, who's 0 for 3, looking to change that, driving it into deep left center field. But at the warning track, the left fielder, Kelly, tracks it down for the second out of the inning, but that's the best contact we've seen from a Michigan hitter in a long time, just not enough with the wind helping it out towards left center, just not enough off the end of Johnny Slater's bat. 2 gone here in the 8th.
I thought that might have been a double in the gap off the crack of the bat, but Kelly has such good closing speed in left field, and with the wind pushing the ball back towards him just ever so slightly, he was able to make a running grab. It was a difficult play, so hats off to Bryce Kelly, the freshman.
2 gone here in the 8th. Michigan State still leads Michigan 1-0 as Michael Berdar returns to the dish. He's 1 for 3 with a single back in the first. He does have 3 home runs. Michigan just needs 1 home run to tie up this game. But that's a good way to keep the inning alive. A seeing eye single back up the middle for Michael Berdar. Brings up the hard-hitting Drew Lugbauer, who we know has home run power. He leads the Maize and Blue with 11 this year, and he's certainly due for a long ball here. 2 gone in the top of the 8th. Michigan State still leads it 1-0, but Lugbauer can give the Wolverines the lead with 1 big swing of the bat, and it's just 3-0-2 down the right field line for the lefty with the right field shift on. And that will lead to a conference on the mound, including the Michigan State pitching coach, Skylar Meade. Eric Bakich will give instructions to his hitter and base runner. But what is Meade, the Michigan State pitching coach, telling his starter, Borkovich, right now?
Well, you need to be careful. Drew Lugbauer is the power hitter, the premier hitter in Michigan's lineup. This is not who Borkovich wants to see with a man on base. Potentially the go-ahead run is Drew Lugbauer. So he needs to calm down a little bit. He's still in a good pitch count at 88. And it seems to be a pretty lengthy talk as well.
Now, if you're Eric Bakich, Michigan's head coach, Berdar's 18 for 22 on stolen base attempts this year. Granted, there are 2 outs in the inning. But any chance you give him the green light to try to put himself in scoring position with just 4 outs left to work with for the Maize and Blue in this 1-0 game?
I like it. I want to see Berdar in motion early in the count, though. Don't put Lugbauer in a spot where he has to swing at a bad pitch later in the count or later in the at-bat. Do it early if you're going to do it at all.
And with Michigan State in that right field shift, they may concede the run as Berdar forced to dive back head first on the pickoff move from Borkovich. The second baseman, Dan Durkin, playing medium depth right field. The shortstop, Royce Ando, playing to the right of the second base bag from our vantage point at high home. Another pickoff move as Berdar steps back in.
He was leaning. He was leaning a little bit, and something you have to keep in mind with this extreme shift is if Berdar makes it to second base, over at third, Bakina needs to get back to third because otherwise no one's going to be at the bag covering.
Another pickoff, 3 straight from Borkovich. Berdar back safely for a 3rd straight time. Still 2 gone here in the top of the 8th. Michigan trailing Michigan State 1-0 with Lugbauer at the plate. Berdar going. This is a weak tapper. Foul towards the Michigan dugout, which will send Berdar jogging back to first base. But as you said, he was leaning in with purpose, as he was going all the way there. And with 2 outs in the inning, he'll be going on contact regardless, so anything in the gaps may be enough to tie up this game.
Well, there you go, Eric Bakich trying to roll the dice there, put some people in motion, put the pressure on Michigan State's defense.
And they picked him off. A quick move from Borkovich. Berdar wasn't ready for the throw. What a play by Michigan State's starting pitcher. Borkovich escapes the jam with a nifty pickoff move. He got Berdar leaning. 3 outs left to work with for the Maize and Blue. The Spartans will look to increase their lead in the bottom of the 8th. Michigan's closer, Jackson Lamb, will take the rubber when we come back on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
What if I could tell you when a wildfire was going to happen? Of course, I can't, but shouldn't you be ready anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Major key alert! Don't ever play yourself. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com.
Stay focused. Now that's a major key alert.
Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
Sup?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Michigan will go to their ace in the bullpen, Jackson Lamb, to try to shut things down and keep the lead at just 1. You're listening to WCBN sports coverage of Michigan baseball here at Michigan State University's McLean Stadium. The Spartans lead at 1-0 as we start the bottom of the 8th inning. Jackson Lamb has been absolutely perfect out of the bullpen this year. Has yet to give up an earned run in 25.2 innings pitched. He also has a record of 2-0, looking to make it 3-0, but first he has to keep the Spartans without a hit.
Hey, he'll have to deal with the top third.
As the leadoff man, Brandon Hughes, who's 0 for 3 so far today, takes a first pitch out of the zone, 1-0.
Something I love about Jackson Lamb is he has a fiery fastball and limits the base runners. Doesn't give out a lot of free passes, strikes a lot of batters out as well.
Just 8 walks so far on the year, 27 strikeouts for the senior righty, who delivers a 2-0. That one misses high, 3-0, and now he has to potentially give something Brandon Hughes can do damage with, or he may walk the leadoff man here in the 8th. The 3-0 in there at the knees for a called strike, 3-1 for the fourth-year player out of Temperance, Michigan. The 6'6", 205-pound righty misses well outside, and we'll see if Hughes makes a big turn for second on the passed ball.
So not the way you want to start if you're Jackson Lamb. I just talked about how good of control Lamb has. And you put Hughes aboard, and Hughes has tremendous speed, 30 stolen bases this year.
Which is a Michigan State record and is good enough for the Big Ten lead as it stands. And almost certainly here in the 8th inning with Michigan State leading 1-0 and no outs, you have to expect that Michigan State's head coach Jake Boss Jr. will give him the green light at some point. And I think Michigan may be expecting it as well, as Harrison Wenson steps up in front of the plate to give some signs to his infield defense.
And look where Lugbauer's playing. He's inside the cut of the grass at third base. A potential sacrifice bunt here.
The bunt is shown. It's popped up as Lamb comes off the rubber to make the play. Nice result there. Lamb went up in the zone, and Kelly got underneath it with his bunt attempt. That will hold Hughes at first base. Good awareness by him to get back safely, but one gone here in the 8th.
Yeah, not a good bunt. Was unable to get on top of the baseball to drive it into the ground. Instead, pops it up, and that is about the easiest out that Jackson Lamb will record in his career.
Michigan State looking for some insurance. They lead at 1-0 here in the 8th, trying to prevent the Wolverines from clinching the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. One gone, but the speedy Brandon Hughes remains at first base. He's going all the way on a first pitch. Wenson with a great throw on the money. They got him! 2 gone here in the 8th. An absolute laser out of the hand of Harrison Wenson, and it was a heat-seeking fastball from the pitcher Lamb, which was a bad pitch to run on. You can't fault Hughes for wanting to be aggressive, but for the 6th time this year, he's caught stealing.
And you know what? I thought early in this at-bat is a great time for Hughes to go because it gives Ross Kelly and then Durkin some opportunities to drive him home, but Wenson knew it all the way. Great awareness from the veteran catcher.
That changes the complexion of this inning dramatically as Ross Kelly swings and misses at an 0-1 pitch, now 0-2. Lacks Jackson Lamb, as you'd expect, finding his groove and making it look easy. The 0-2. Foul down the first baseline towards the Michigan bullpen. Weird quirk here at McLean Stadium that The visiting bullpen unprotected by any fencing out in right field. Michigan State with a nice cage shelter out in left. Funny how that works.
It is funny.
The 0-2 from Lamb to Ross Kelly. Popped up and over our heads behind the plate in the beautiful press box here at McLean Baseball Stadium. We'll do it again at 0-2.
Not coincidental at all either. I think it was just a random luck of the draw that the visitors got the unprotected bullpen.
The 0-2 pitch with 2 going here in the 8th. Breaking ball and a nice swing there by Ross Kelly, who waited on the off-speed pitch and sent it into left field to extend the inning with a 2-out single.
And you saw Ross Kelly slow his entire body down to allow his bat to stay back just enough to poke it out into left field. It was kind of hanging breaking ball, not a crisp breaking ball from Lamb, and that's what allowed Ross Kelly to even get any good bat on it.
The chess match between the pitcher and hitter there. Ross Kelly says checkmate, sending it into left, because as you said, I think Lamb was just trying to outsmart him there. That certainly wasn't a pitch that's going to beat many Division I hitters. And now Ross Kelly over at first base. Lamb delivers to the second baseman, Dan Durkin, who takes a first pitch low and outside. The check swing appealed, but not granted by Michael Schultz, who now is over towards second base as part of this 3-man umpire crew, so he doesn't have the best angle either. The 1-0 also misses outside, 2-0. Lamb sets, delivers the 2-0 pitch over the outside part of the plate, 2-1. Over at first base, a pinch runner, Danny Gleaves, the freshman from Chicago, Illinois. Went to St. Rita High School, the same high school as Michigan State's starting third baseman, Marty Bacchina. The 2-1 misses low and outside, 3-1. The Spartans not done here. They plated their 1 run in this game on a Royce Ando single back in the 4th inning with 2 outs in that frame. And with 2 outs, they're trying to double that lead, as it still remains at 1-0 against the Michigan closer Jackson Lamb, who has yet to give up an earned run this year. Popped up and out of play off the end of Durkin's bat. Will do it with the count full. 2 gone and a runner at first base here in the bottom of the 8th.
And Lamb is maneuvering around this inning, a few mistakes, but he is not looking at his best so far. His control not there, and leaving some pitches up in the zone as well.
The payoff pitch upcoming from Lamb to Durkin. The runner goes. It's low and outside anyway. A ball. So Gleaves over to second. Durkin reaches safely for the second time today.
The catcher,
with a full count walk. Now a runner in scoring position for Matt Byers. Still 2 going here in the bottom of the 8th. Michigan State leads Michigan 1-0. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. Lamb tasked with trying to hold the deficit at just 1 and prevent himself from giving up the first earned run of the season. He delivers a strike that Byers was taking all the way, 0-1. Ross Kelly, the designated hitter, so no harm, no foul with putting a pinch runner in for him in the form of Dan Gleaves. The 0-1 misses inside, 1-1.
And the way Michigan State is pitching, specifically Borkovich, this is an important run if you're Jackson Lamb to not allow, because 1 run is going to be difficult enough to get against the Spartan pitching staff, let alone 2 or more.
The 1-1 upcoming. In there, called strike 2, 1-2. As Lamb looks to retire the side and strand 2 Spartans at first and second base here in the bottom of the 8th. MSU still on top, 1-0. Lamb looking for strikeout number 28 on the year, his first this afternoon out of the bullpen. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Lamb retires the side. The Spartans strand 2. We head to the 9th. 3 outs left to work with for the Maize and Blue. They need 1 run to tie things up. Two, if they want to secure that 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. We'll find out if they can do it next on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
So you're giving up? Just like that?
Giving up on what?
On getting an inheritance from a distant relative.
Don't you think if there were a billionaire in the family, we'd know about it by now?
Listen to me. We are one phone call away from riding horses on our own private polo grounds. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb.
How do you figure?
Look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. You know, start using a budget, get out of debt, set some retirement goals.
Budgets? Debt? You watch your mouth. Retirement shouldn't be a goal for us. It should be a way of life.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad!
Oh, come on! This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Drew Ludbauer.
Last chance to dance for the Maize and Blue here at East Lansing's McLean Baseball Stadium on the campus of Michigan State University. The Wolverines looking to lock up the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament, but they need a win. And they trail 1-0 to the green and white. The hard-hitting Drew Ludbauer leading things off with a big swing and a miss, 0-1, as Walter Borkovich is back out there in the ninth. It's senior day, and the senior getting his first start of the year has been masterful. He's at 90 pitches, the 91st, with the count 0-1, and the right field shift on is in the dirt, 1-1. The second baseman, Durkin, playing in right field, a good 15 yards from the infield dirt. The shortstop, Royce Ando, playing to the right of the second base bag from our vantage point behind home plate. Ludbauer leads the team with 11 home runs this year. If he can get his 12th, it will tie up the game. The 1-1 is spiked in the dirt, 2-1 to the third baseman from New York. Michigan just needs base runners at this point. They started the game with a hit in each of the first 5 innings. They've gone hitless since then. The 2-1 to Ludbauer is fouled in at the hands, 2-2. A great crowd on hand, a near sellout here at Michigan State. The Spartans in their last game of the year. Michigan will go to the Big Ten tournament regardless of this game, but they want to lock up the 2 seed and earn the series victory in this rubber match between the green and white and the maize and blue. The 2-2. Swung off the end of the bat, tracking foul, and it will land foul, clearing the Michigan State bullpen out and left.
Good defensive swing there. Nothing Ludbauer could do with that one, but it was going to be a called strike. Wait for something in his wheelhouse.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, ripped into right field. The right fielder makes the diving stop, but he's not able to hang on to the baseball. Ludbauer is aboard. It was a tough play for the right fielder, Shimilewski, who got the dive in position, had his glove on the baseball, but it trickles loose at the last second, and Ludbauer is aboard with a leadoff single and would be surprised. Here we go. The injured Akeo Thomas, not injured enough to not be a base runner, and the speedster takes over at first base. Michigan playing with desperation, and they have the speedy sophomore from Chicago in the game now at first base, representing the tying run.
Well, this is what you want out of your cleanup hitter. Get on base in the ninth inning in a clutch situation, and then let the speedster Thomas do what he does best. A great base runner, only as a sophomore as well. And now if you're Miles Lewis and Nick Poirier, your job is to move that runner around and score Akeo Thomas. I'm not sure if Lewis or if Eric Bakich is comfortable in Lewis bunting, but we'll see here. Maybe trying to get Thomas 90 feet closer.
For the University of Michigan, pinch running, first base.
Akeo Thomas.
Akeo Thomas.
On the year is 20 for 24 on stolen base attempts, trying to perhaps work himself into scoring position. Michigan State leads at 1-0 here in the top of the ninth. Lewis shows bunt but pulls back. It's a called strike anyway.
And you know what? Michigan, a very aggressive team. They love stealing bases, top 5 in the nation in that category.
He has 4 sacrifice hits this year, does Miles Lewis, looking for his 5th. First a pickoff coming as Akeo Thomas dives back safely. He has that protective silicone wrapping on the left hand, which he re-aggravated back on Thursday, but he's healthy enough to run. His feet aren't injured, it's just that left hand. Lewis lays down a nice bunt. It dies at the plate. Thomas over to second. Lewis thrown out at first by the catcher Byers, but Lewis does his job. Thomas now in scoring position, 1 gone here in the top of the ninth, 1-0. Michigan State still leads it with the designated hitter Nick Poirier coming to the plate.
And textbook bunt. What a bunt from Miles Lewis, because that ball just sat there once it hit the dirt, and it really put the pressure on Byers to make a good, clean throw over to first and got the job done. Now you get 2 cracks at a base hit to score Thomas from second.
Nick Poirier 0 for 6 in this series. He got the day off on Thursday, looking for his first hit here in East Lansing, and it would be a big spot to do it. Akeo Thomas at second base represents the tying run, 1 gone here in the top of the ninth. Walter Borkovich out there for his 9th inning of work and gets a big swing and a miss on an off-speed pitch that Poirier was well ahead of, looking to drive it out of the ballpark. Can't get overly aggressive here. If you're Nick Poirier, you've simply got to put it in play. The 0-1 pitch from the right-hander upcoming. Thomas is going to go an inside pitch, and he's going to dive in safely, uncontested. He didn't get a great jump on that one.
Terrible jump.
But Byers, for whatever reason, electing to say conservative, and now the Wolverines 90 feet away from tying up the game. And now all Poirier has to do is get a deep fly ball, and the infield will come in, not looking to concede the tying run. That pitch was in the dirt, but still Thomas ever hesitant to jump on it. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Akeo Thomas at third base. Michigan State leading 1-0 here in the top of the ninth. The 1-1. Grounded towards the first baseman. It eats him up. Thomas is going to come home to score the tying run. The first baseman picked it up and tagged the first base bag. But we have a tie game as Poirier hit it, and McGuire, perhaps the pressure getting to him. He just bobbled that one. It was enough of a bobble to allow Thomas to come home to score. And boy, does that decision to concede the steal of third base pay off for the Wolverines and cost the Spartans. It's a tie game here in the ninth. The base is empty for Jonathan Engelman, but everything now in the favor of the Maize and Blue in terms of momentum, and that has silenced the crowd here in East Lansing.
McGuire is lucky he even got the out at first, because it wasn't 1 bobble, it was about 3 because of how hard Poirier hit that ball.
The reason I think it might be nerves is even after he tagged the bag and got the out, he dropped it once again. I think the moment maybe got to the junior from Sterling Heights. They so desperately want to win this series, but now the game is tied. The Spartans, this is their last game of the regular season and of the season overall, win or lose. Michigan looking to clinch the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Engelman at the plate now ahead 2-1.
And hindsight is always 20/20, but did Jake Boss Jr. leave Borkovich in too long? He's at 100 pitches right now. He was not stretched out past 58. I understand that on senior day you're trying to get that complete game shutout, but you have to go for the win.
And it was all started by Drew Lugbauer, whose liner into right was dropped on the diving attempt by Shimoleski. Akeo Thomas comes in. The injury not enough to present him from base running as Engelman fouls this one up and out of play along the right field line. But Akeo Thomas just showing the impact he can make even if he's not able to hit in the game or play his usual stellar second base position. showing that speed, stealing second, and then an uncontested swipe of third base was enough to allow him to score home on that weak tapper towards the first baseman, which stayed in the infield with the infield in, but Thomas able to take advantage of the McGuire bobble. Engelman staying alive, fouling it over to the third base line. The count remains 1-2.
Good news for Michigan, the game's tied. Bad news for Michigan, Akeo Thomas definitely is not going to be able to play the field. Not sure who's going to replace Lugbauer in the bottom of the ninth.
If I were a betting man, I'd say you'll see Joe Pace move to second, Jimmy Kerr, who we've seen play pretty much everywhere in the infield, moving over to third. Engelman swings and misses at a pitch in the dirt. He's thrown down at first. Borkovich exits the game with 105 pitches. He gets a much-deserved ovation from the Michigan State crowd, but he will not be in line for the win unless his Spartans can play to run in the bottom half of the ninth. The Wolverines plate the tying run in the top half of the inning. We head to the bottom half of the inning. The Michigan closer comes back out there in Jackson Lamb. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Michigan's closer back out there here. It's the bottom of the ninth at McLean Baseball Stadium, the final game of the season for Michigan State, the final regular season game for the Michigan Wolverines. 1-1 the score after the Wolverines plate the tying run in the top half of the inning. Michigan's closer has yet to give up an earned run all year, in there and getting a first pitch strike against a swinging Marty Bacchina, 0-1, with Joe Pace in there at second base, replacing Akeo Thomas, and Jimmy Kerr moving over to third after Drew Lugbauer was pinch run for to tie up the game. 0-2 after another fan by Marty Bacchina. And Lamb, who stranded two back in the eighth, back out there for a second inning of work, looking to send us into extras. The 0-2 misses outside. When you expect anything different in a big rivalry game, Michigan State not looking to end it in anything but exciting drama. A liner down the right field line just lands 3 feet foul.
That one was definitely foul.
High drama here in East Lansing. Hold your breath each and every swing of the bat as Michigan looks to lock up the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Nebraska hammering Penn State, so the Wolverines' hopes of winning the Big Ten regular season crown dashed, but still a lot to play for, including a potential boost to the NCAA tournament resume that the Wolverines hope will earn them a chance to host a regional. The 1-2 is grounded into left field, so the Spartans start the bottom half of the ninth with a leadoff single. Bacchina takes a big charge for second, but tracks back to first, and he's aboard with a leadoff single here in the ninth.
And I go back to what I said last inning about Jackson Lamb. He just doesn't look right now. I don't know if it's pitching in back-to-back contests or facing these hitters for a second time. but he has given up now 2 walks and 2 singles. Obviously no runs, but definitely something to watch out for if you're Michigan. And Bekina on first base, 11 stolen bases, 11 for 13, so he has some speed.
We already saw the Spartans test the arm of Harrison Wenson once so far in this game, back in the 8th inning, and Wenson was up to the task throwing out the Big Ten stolen base leader Brandon Hughes. We'll see if they test him again with Bekina over at first, with Dan Chmielewski at the plate, showing bunt right away. The throw back to first, the tag applied, but not in time, as Chmielewski showed bunt. A nice athletic play made by Bivens to just keep that ball in the infield as he got run into the back of his legs by the base runner, Bekina. Wenson, we know, is going to continue to be aggressive behind the plate, trying to gun out runners any way he can, whether it's the pickoff over to first or gunning him down, trying to swipe second base. The pitch missed the zone, so it's 1-0 to Chmielewski, who's just looking to move Bekina over with a sac bunt. Jimmy Kerr, the third baseman, playing on the infield grass. The 1-0 with the corner infielders charging in is blocked in the dirt. 2-0. So Pace, the second baseman, will be forced to cover first base if Bivens comes in charging, which will leave Bernard basically by his lonesome in normal infield depth. Lamb steps back on the rubber to deliver the 2-0 to Chmielewski, who shows bunt, lays it down, but foul. 2-1.
Definitely putting pressure on the third baseman, Jimmy Kerr, right off the bat once he slides over to that position, and might as well. Chmielewski needs to get this bunt down. You think back to Bryce Kelly and his inability to do so, and that's what cost Michigan State a chance to extend the lead back in the 8th.
The 2-1, the bunt laid down the first base line, the throw over to second, airmailed by Bivens into center field. Slater has to play it, and they will hold up Bekina at third, but runners at second and third here in the bottom of the 9th, no one gone. And the winning run for the Spartans is 90 feet away as Bivens tried to get aggressive and get the lead runner out at second. His throw well off the mark, a good 6 or 7 feet high of the shortstop, Michael Berdar. Slater, by the time he fielded it, Bekina was already halfway to third base. And Jackson Lamb on the verge of giving up his first earned run of the season in the last game of the season.
Well, you know what? You have to admire the aggressiveness from Jake Bivens. He's a veteran. He knows this field pretty well in addition to that, but you gotta make a good throw. If you're gonna get risky and go for that lead runner, you have to make sure that throw's on target. In that situation, I like taking the out. Just take the out. Michigan State is handing you an out. Take it and live to play another at-bat, and it's a high-risk, high-reward play, and unfortunately for the Wolverines, it did not work out the way they wanted it to.
E3 for those scoring at home. So runners at first and second, or at second and third rather. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th after the Wolverines valiantly tied up the game in the top half of the inning. They're 90 feet away from ending the regular season on a very sour note. The score remains 1-1. Jackson Lamb certainly has the stuff to escape this jam, but a tall task in front of him. With the Spartans sending Royce Ando, who's 1 for 3 today. All he has to do is put this one anywhere in the outfield, and the Spartans likely win it. They're going to walk him to put force outs at all 4 bases after the pitching coach, Sean Kenny, came out to conference with his redshirt junior on the rubber.
And I like this move to get the force outs at all the bases. What I don't like is that McGuire has a chance to knock home the winning run, but Brandon Hughes is one batter closer than the leadoff hitter, and he is very dangerous.
The 2-0, once again, well outside as the Wolverines will load them up and get a force out at each and every base. So Michigan will keep the infield in, and they'll have to come home. in order to preserve the tie. The score 1-1, bottom of the ninth. The base is loaded. Nobody out.
55, Zach
For Michigan State's first baseman, Zach McGuire, and a chance for some vindication. No activity in the Michigan bullpen, so this is Lamb's game to finish either way, or at least send us into extras. In his second inning of relief, McGuire bobbled that ball down the first base line that allowed Thomas to score the tying run in the top half of the inning. He gets a chance to give them the win. It's a slow tapper to third base. Kerr with a nice job fielding it calm and coolly, throwing home to get the lead runner out. And now the double play ball in play. One out here in the bottom of the ninth. The bases, though, remain loaded. Wenson had no chance to throw it over to first.
The center fielder, Brendan Hughes.
You can cut the tension with a knife here at McLean Baseball Stadium. The bottom of the ninth, 1-1 the score. Lamb on the rubber. One out here with the bases loaded for the leadoff man, Brandon Hughes.
And I like the aggressiveness right off the bat from Lamb, and we see it again with McGuire attacking that first pitch. You know it's probably going to be a fastball. You know it's probably going to be the best pitch you see all at bat long. Why not jump on it? And that's what Ando did. Unfortunately for him, it didn't work out. McGuire did it too. He just wasn't able to handle it, fouled it straight back, 0-1.
The 0-1 misses up high, 1-1. So McGuire grounds out to the third baseman Kerr, who fired it home to keep this game going. The 1-1 pitch with the bases loaded inside, well handled by the catcher Wenson. Can't afford a pass ball here, 2-1.
Outfielders very shallow for the Wolverines. Johnny Slater planting himself right on top of that Spartan helmet out in center field.
He was 0 for 3 today. The bases loaded, 1-1 here in the bottom of the ninth. The 2-1 popped up into shallow right field. The second baseman Pace will give way to Engelman, who makes the diving stop. The runners weren't ready for it, and that is a big blown opportunity. Another miscommunication. Engelman at the last second dives in to make the catch in very shallow right field. He was on the infield dirt by the time he came to his feet, but the runner at third base, Shimilewski, thought that was going to drop him with the bases loaded. He couldn't just afford to wait and potentially try to tag up on the dropped baseball. He had to be coming to home with how shallow that pop-up was into right, and he had to track back to third base. 2 gone here, so the infield can return to normal depth. The bases remain loaded here in the bottom of the ninth. The score still 1-1 for Bryce Kelly.
Well, all of a sudden, that pop-up, Pace and Engelman converging, and all of a sudden, when it was coming down, you had that oh darn moment, and both of them looked at each other. Fortunately for Michigan, Engelman able to recover in time, but close play there. That would have been wonky.
First pitch just misses outside, 1-0 to Kelly. The bases still loaded. That really, in all likelihood, should have been Pace's ball. It was shallow enough in the infield, but either way, Engelman makes the valiant effort, the 1-0. Inside, Black, 1-1. The high wire act continues for Jackson Lamb. The Spartans started this inning with the bases loaded, nobody out, now 2 gone. The bases remain loaded, 1-1 here in the bottom of the ninth. The 1-1 pitch to Kelly, swung on and fouled up and out of play. 1-2. One strike left to work with in regulation. Here in the bottom of the ninth, the bases loaded, the 1-2 pitch. Check swing, did he go? He did not, 2-2.
That was just a smart move from Wenson to see if he could induce a bad call from the umpire. That's Michael Schultz. Not even close to going was Bryce Kelly.
The bases loaded, 1-1 the score. 2 going here in the bottom of the ninth. The 2-2 pitch sent in the infield. Berdar fields it cleanly over to Pace at second. Jackson Lamb does it again. The Spartans leave him loaded. We head to the top of the 10th after the Wolverines plate the tying run in the top half of the inning. They strand 3 for the Spartans offense. We head to the 10th on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball, 1-1.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hi, Mom. Is Claire's birthday party today? Me again, Mom. Where did I put my history book? Hi. Sorry, forgot one last thing. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate. At school, I start looking out the window, and then I forget what I was supposed to be thinking about. I know it seems like I don't care, but I do. It's just difficult for me. Love you, Mom. Bye.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
The Spartans not wanting their season to come to an end just yet. It's their final game of the year regardless of how it goes. Michigan has the Big Ten tournament in Bloomington next weekend. They're hoping to punch their ticket as the number 2 seed with Nebraska throttling Penn State in their regular season finale. The best the Wolverines can hope for is number 2, but nothing to shake your head at. We go to extra innings here, top of the 10th. At McLean Baseball Stadium on the campus of Michigan State University. Jimmy Kerr will lead things off. After Michigan plated the tying run in the top half of the 9th, the Spartans had the bases loaded, nobody out, but Jackson Lamb has continued to be the best closer in collegiate baseball. He leaves them loaded. And we start the 10th inning with the Michigan now third baseman, Jimmy Kerr, who started at second. Akeo Thomas was the pinch runner in the 9th, so Joe Pace enters for him, with Thomas still dealing with that left-hand injury. Kerr shifted over to third base, and he's behind 0-1. We have a new pitcher. Walter Borkovich goes 9 innings, giving up 8 hits to the Wolverines, just 1 run, but he will not get a decision in his final game in a Michigan State uniform on Senior Day. The Spartans turn to Ethan Landon.
Kind of a different delivery from Landon, 3/4, not the over-the-top delivery that we saw from Borkovich.
Landon, the redshirt junior, induces a grounder over to the second baseman. Durkin fires to first. 1 gone here in the top of the 10th. Landon, by way of Kansas State, transferring here to Michigan State University, originally from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, stands in at 6'5", 215.
Number 7,
the redshirt
Harrison
junior,
Wenson.
ready to face the Michigan 9-hitter Harrison Wenson, who's 0 for 3 so far today. Swings and misses at a first pitch offering from Landon, off speed that he was well ahead of, 0-1. The clouds starting to gray up the sky here in East Lansing. The start of this game moved up an hour to avoid the rain showers that we're expecting at some point this afternoon. The 0-1 is popped up over our heads in the press box, 0-2. The 0-2 offering is low and outside, 1-2.
Wenson has a little pop in that bat. An interesting 9-hitter, 9 home runs, 40 RBIs, a lot of production from that 9-hole, and if not for the 199 average, he would be much higher in the lineup.
1-1 here in the top of the 10th inning. The 1-2 misses low and outside, 2-2 to Wenson.
And I think if Landon got that call, Wenson would not be happy at the plate being the opposing catcher. Probably would have asked Mark Huell, where have those calls been my way all day long?
The 2-2, ripped down the left field line, foul. As Michigan plated the tying run in the top half of the ninth, the Spartans had the bases loaded, nobody out in the bottom half of the inning, but Jackson Lamb escaped it, going 2 innings of scoreless baseball to remain perfect on the year in terms of earned runs allowed. William Tribuker over, starting to get loose in the Michigan bullpen. A couple of arms getting loose for the Spartans as well. The 2-2 misses low and outside to run the count full to Harrison Wenson.
I like this at bat so far, battling back from 0-2.
Landon deliberate in between pitches. Hangs the right hand, now comes together from the stretch. The payoff pitch with 1 gone here in the 10th. Ripped to the shortstop. Ando fields it off a hop and fires over to first. 2 gone.
You know, Landon looking pretty good in the 10th. Let's just talk a little bit about Borkovich and what he was able to do. Really, this Michigan State team has done it all today. A few pickoffs, battled through some errors and some miscues, but very resilient the Spartans have been, and that's why they're challenging a top 15 competitor in Michigan.
2 teams that just will never say die in the last regular season game, and the last game of the year for the Spartans here on Senior Day at Michigan State. As Jake Bivens returns to the dish, swings and misses at a first pitch fastball from Ethan Landon, the redshirt junior who replaced our senior starter for the Spartans, Walter Borkovich, who went all 9 innings and gave up 8 hits but just 1 run. 1-1 is the score that continues to read out in left field on the scoreboard. The count now 0-2 to Bivens, with 2 outs here in the top of the 10th. The 0-2 weakly sent into left field, gets by a diving Ando, and Bivens extends the inning with a defensive cut against an 0-2 count. And now the leading run is at first base for the 2-hitter, Johnny Slater.
Bivens 3 for 5 today, raising that average to 267, and he's had some pretty good at-bats, setting the table, not only getting on base, but taking a decent amount of pitches so the rest of the lineup can see what Borkovich was throwing or see what Ethan Landon is offering up there on the mound for the Spartans.
And nice to see him break out of that slump. He's really been struggling of late, but a great way to end the regular season for Jake Bivens. And now we'll see if Johnny Slater can extend the 10th inning. First a pickoff.
Another pickoff throw with Bivens on base.
Slater, who's 0 for 4 today. Now 2 for 11 on the weekend. But 1 swing of the bat from the senior from Southfield, Michigan could give the Wolverines their first lead here in extra innings. A check swing that he got a piece of and fouled into the netting behind home plate. 0-1. We'll see if Bivens has the green light to try to swipe second base with 2 gone in the 10th. Landon sets, but another pickoff coming. The life has been taken out of this Michigan State crowd, still stunned to see the Wolverines tie up the game in the top half of the inning, and then the Spartans leave it loaded with no outs in the bottom of the 9th, but Jackson Lamb continues to prove that he's the nation's best out of the bullpen. Another step off by Landon forces Bivens back to first. 2 outs here in the top of the 10th, 1-1 the score. Johnny Slater at the plate, swings and misses, 0-2. Michigan has not led in this game. They have not led it East Lansing in either of the 2 meetings between these 2 sides, and just 2 runs so far for the Wolverines here in East Lansing this year. The 0-2. Swung on and ripped past the diving first baseman. It'll get into right field. Bivens should have made the turn for third. For whatever reason, held up at the last second. And Nick Schnabel absolutely furious, the third base coach, adamant that he was giving Bivens the sign to head for third, but Bivens will stay at second base. The inning continues for Michael Berdard.
I think he either slipped or made contact with Royce Ando at shortstop, because that ball was slowed considerably by the outfield grass, and even the slowest runner on the team, let alone a pretty speedy leadoff hitter, could have made it to third the extra 90 feet.
Yeah, it was slowed up. It was surprising just to see it get out into the outfield. It almost seemed like surely the second baseman Durkin would likely prevent the runner from advancing to third. Probably didn't have enough time to make the play, especially with the speedy Slater running down the first base line. But as you said, it sort of just died in shallow right field. But Berdard has a chance still to give the Wolverines their first lead. Bivens still in scoring position at second base. Bakich talking things over with his base runners. The Michigan State pitching coach Skylar Meade out on the mound for the third time in this game to talk things over with his reliever Ethan Landon, who replaced Walter Borkovich after 9 innings in his final start in a Michigan State uniform. He has played his last inning of collegiate baseball here on Senior Day at McLean Stadium. The Wolverines have the Big Ten tournament starting next weekend. They need to win this game to punch their ticket as the number 2 seed next weekend in Bloomington, and they have the leading run at second base here in the top of the 10th after plating the tying run in the 9th. Jake Bivens 180 feet away from giving the Wolverines the lead. He stands at second. Johnny Slater stands at first. 2 gone here in the top of the 10th for Michael Berdard, who's 2 for 4 today with a couple of singles in the 1st and the 8th. Looking for his 36 RBI of the year. This would be the biggest for him of the season. 2 gone, 2 on. Landon delivers. Berdard taking all the way over the heart of the plate for a called strike, according to home plate umpire Mark Ewell.
Wouldn't be surprised here if they pitch around Michael Berdard. I know there are 2 Wolverines on the base pass, but Joe Pace is on deck batting in place of Drew Lugbauer. Very light-hitting infielder.
The 0-1 misses low and outside. 1-1. Landon asked where that one missed. Mark Ewell not going to give him an answer. 1-1. Landon just trying to will the baseball over the plate and escape this inning without giving up the lead. The 1-1. Misses high and outside. 2-1. As you mentioned, Joe Pace, who replaced Akeo Thomas, awaits on deck. Thomas pinch ran for Drew Lugbauer in the top half of the 9th and came home to score the tying run. The score remains 1-1. The Wolverines looking for their first lead here in the top of the 10th. Runners at first and second, 2 gone. The 2-1 to Berdard. Paints the black on the outside corner, 2-2. 1 strike left to work with for Berdard, who now has to get defensive at the plate, where he's 2 for 4 today. On the series, he's 7 for 13, including 2 RBIs, looking for his third on the weekend here. The 2-2. Swung on off the end of the bat. This will get into right field. They're going to send Bivens home. Shimoleski's throw is not in time. Bivens dives in safely. The runners advance to second and third. And the Wolverines have their first lead of the ballgame here in the top of the 10th. A 2-out single into right by Jake Bivens. And the throw from Shimoleski took Byers off his mark at home. He wasn't able to field it cleanly anyway. And Bivens was never slowing down from second. He scores, and the Wolverines take a 2-1 lead here in extras.
Well, there's no way Jake Bivens was going to get thrown out at home after that base running error that kept him at second base. He was powering around third. He knew he had to score on that play. It was a heck of a throw from Chmielewski.
And we will go to a break. The Spartans making a pitching change. Michigan leads at 2-1. They take their first lead of the game after plating 1 in the 9th. They plate 1 here in the 10th. And the Never Say Die Maize and Blue baseball team will be back in a moment. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. We're in the top of the 10th with Michigan on top of Michigan State 2-1 in the rubber match.
I'm a
retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Open road, here comes the Heffley family.
You've packed the smartphones, headphones, tablets, water snacks, cooler, sunscreen, bikes, skateboards, games, videos, sunglasses.
There's no room for people in here.
Just don't wimp out on the most important thing.
Deep fried butter on a stick.
No, seatbelts. Whether it's a long haul or short trip,
It's a win-win situation.
never give up until they buckle up. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Nathan Witt out there for the Spartans here. The reliever with a 4.43 ERA. Witt from Clarkston, Michigan, is a redshirt sophomore. The righty standing in at 6'4", 215 pounds. Michigan, a resilient bunch, playing a tying run in the top of the 9th, and now in the top of the 10th, they take the lead with 2 outs. They may not be done yet. A pinch hitter for Joe Pace. Dominic Clemente with Johnny Slater at third base, Michael Berdar at second. 2 gone. Michigan leads at 2-1 over Michigan State here in the top of the 10th. As Witt looks to escape the jam and hold the Wolverine lead to just 1. Clemente batting .474 on the year. This is 20th at-bat of the season. He has 9 hits and 3 RBIs, and a late time called for as Witt never even stepped on the rubber. Finally, he sets in. The Wolverines looking for some insurance, knowing that Jackson Lamb not likely to come out of the dugout for a 3rd inning of relief. But he's in line for the victory, which would be his 3rd of the year after some masterful work. Michigan State had the bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th, nobody out, and they left them loaded. And the Wolverines looking to punch their ticket as the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. 1-0 to Clemente. Swings and misses, 1-1.
Overpowered there from the sophomore Witt, and Michigan, a lot of late inning heroics. You look, and they're finally cashing in on their opportunities. 11 hits on the board, only 2 runs for the Wolverines, but as it stands now, it's enough.
The 1-1 is in at the hands and fouled behind the net. 1-2 as some menacing clouds start to hang over the field here at McLean Baseball Stadium. They move the start time of this game up an hour due to expected rain showers that we're not expecting until around 3 o'clock, but as this game has gone into extras, who knows what else is in store for us here at Michigan State. The 1-2 pitch, swung on, sent back up the middle. It gets to the shortstop, Ando, throws to first, and they retire the side. Nice work by Nathan Witt out of the bullpen, sends us to the bottom of the 10th. Michigan with a chance to seal the victory. They lead at 2-1 here at Michigan State University. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. Stay tuned to see if the Wolverines can hang on and punch their 2 seed ticket to the Big Ten tournament.
Listen, my life changed because someone was there to get me to use drugs. No one can understand. People think that having someone who will listen makes it better. I need help.
I'm listening.
I need help. I think that having someone who will listen makes it better. People understand. No one can get me to use drugs. My life changed because someone was there to listen.
Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to turn addiction around. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B. Console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is gonna happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C. Take charge.
Gotta get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D. Help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
William Tribuker being called upon to shut things down here in the 9th inning, or in the 10th inning now, as we've gone to extra innings. Michigan with their first lead of the game coming in the top half of this frame. Your Wolverines lead it 2-1 as we start the bottom of the 10th. Jackson Lamb went 2 innings, leaving the Spartan bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th with no one on, or with no outs, I should say. And now Tribuker comes out here looking to earn his second save of the season. Trying to send the Spartan crowd here home disappointed are the Wolverines. Leading things off is the former pinch runner, Danny Gleaves, who's now batting for Michigan State. Gleaves entered for the designated hitter, Chad Ross Kelly. He's hitting .295 on the year, showed bunt, and fanned on the 0-1, and now the 0-2 he checks, or the 0-1 he checks at, rather, and the first base umpire, Perry Costello, says safe, so we'll stay at 1-1. From the windup, Tribuker sets and the lefty delivers. Inside, just missing, 2-1. The Spartans with 3 outs left to work with on their season. Tribuker sets, fires the 2-1, grounded to the shortstop, Berdar, on the run, makes the throw, and man, what a luxury to have him as your shortstop. Continues to be absolutely perfect there, with Nick Poirier in now at third base and Jimmy Kerr over at second. So Kerr, who started the game at second, returns, and Nick Poirier, who we haven't seen in the field much, if at all, this year, usually just the designated hitter, will be working the hot corner after Drew Lugbauer was pinch run for in the top of the 9th by Akeo Thomas, who's still too injured to be back out in the field. 1 gone here in the bottom of the 10th. Michigan leading Michigan State 2-1, looking to win the rubber match here in Big Ten play. Dan Durkin at the plate, where he's 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch and a walk. Takes a first pitch over the heart of the plate for a called strike from home plate umpire Mark Ewell. The wind blowing out towards center for this 0-1 pitch. That one misses low and outside. With the rain starting to fall here at McLean Baseball Stadium, a light drizzle. As the 1-1 is in there for a called strike, 1-2.
Plenty of arms warming in Michigan's bullpen. If Tribuker gets into trouble here, the leash is going to be short.
Just misses low and outside to even the count at 2-2, with the Wolverines looking to rain on the Spartans' senior day, and the heavens doing so as well at the moment. The rain starting to fall here at McLean Stadium, the 2-2. That one well outside. Durkin doesn't chase. He runs the count full, representing the tying run at the plate with 1 gone here in extras. Tribuker readies from the windup, the payoff pitch. Swung on and fouled out of play. We'll do it again with the count full. It's a natural field here at Michigan State. Doesn't absorb rain nearly as well as the yard over at Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. We'll do it again with the payoff pitch. Misses low and inside, and the leading run will come to the plate. The tying run now at first base with a one-out walk. Dan Durkin looking to run on contact with the catcher Matt Byers coming to the plate. As some of the crowd's already starting to file out to avoid the inclement weather here in the bottom of the 10th, as the rain really starting to come down with a bit more force here at McLean Baseball Stadium. Durkin at first base, Michigan State trailing 2-1 here in the bottom of the 10th. Tribuker's pitch in there for a called strike to Byers, 0-1.
Byers 1 for 4 today, scored that run for the Spartans back in the 4th.
Michigan trying to clinch the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament, with Nebraska winning the Big Ten regular season crown earlier today at Penn State. The 0-1 over the outside part of the plate, 1-1, or 0-2 rather. Really, you should put an asterisk next to that mark, though, I would say, given Nebraska has one less loss than Michigan simply because they had a tie in conference play. But nonetheless, their winning percentage good enough to win them the conference crown. Runner at first. Here in the bottom of the 10th, Michigan leading 2-1. The 0-2 from Tribuker. Swung on and missed. Tribuker gets his 40th strikeout of the season. 2 gone, 1 out left to work with for the Spartans. Here on their final game of the regular season, Durkin remains at first base, representing the tying run.
Infielders for the Wolverines need to be conscious that the rain is falling pretty heavily now. Secure the baseball, make a good throw over to Jake Bivens at first, and this one will be over.
2 gone for the third baseman, Marty Bikina, who's 1 for 3 with a single back in the 9th. Part of that bases loaded 9th inning that the Spartans were not able to convert on despite having it loaded and nobody out. Jackson Lamb left him loaded. Bikina gets underneath the first pitch he sees, fouls it out of play. 0-1 with Durkin still at first base. He's 5 for 8 on stolen base attempts this year. He's the tying run. Michigan plating a run in the 9th and the leading run in the 10th, now in the bottom half of the 10th inning, trying to spoil the Spartans' senior day. The 0-1 gets by Wenson, so Durkin will jog over to second. They're going to say that got a piece of Bikina as well, and now the tying run is in scoring position with 2 gone for the right fielder, Dan Shimileski, whose throw in the top of the 10th was off the mark, allowing Jake Bivens to score the leading run. He also dropped a liner in right field on a diving attempt in the 9th that allowed Lugbauer to reach safely, and ultimately Akeo Thomas, who pinch ran for him, scored the tying run. Shimileski looking to make amends for a couple tough plays in right field. With the tying run at second base, 2 gone for William Tribuker, as the rain really starting to fall now here in the bottom of the 10th. That one in the dirt, this time blocked by Wenson, 1-0. The Spartans continue to make things interesting here in the final moments of this game. And now Wenson will come out to meet with his pitcher on the rubber. Perhaps just trying to get some confidence back in his reliever, with a couple guys still getting loose for the maize and blue out in right field. The leading run for the Spartans and the winning run is at first base, but there are 2 outs left, or 1 out left to work with 2 gone here in the bottom of the 10th for Tribuker. Some of the fans have decided to leave just to avoid Mother Nature's downpour, as it's really starting to come down here at McLean Stadium. If we weren't in the bottom of the 10th, I think a stoppage would be called for at this point, but they'll play on. Tribuker sets the 1-0 on the outside part of the plate, called strike, 1-1. And Kevin, I have to ask, given the conditions, how difficult could this be for Tribuker now, just gripping that baseball?
This is very difficult for any pitcher. Be on the lookout for Wenson or Tribuker asking for new balls.
The 1-1 misses low, 2-1. As you said, the fielders need to be cognizant of that as well. We're in the bottom of the 10th. Michigan leads Michigan State 2-1, but the Spartans threatening with runners at first and second. Here in the bottom of the 10th with 2 gone. A Chopper back up the middle. Kerr makes the play. Tag second base. The Wolverines win it. They come from behind. They play the tying run in the 9th. They get the leading run in the 10th.
There you go.
And the Spartans have their senior day spoiled here in McLean Baseball Stadium. The Wolverines punch their ticket as the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament and win the season series here in East Lansing. Kevin, what a great way for the Wolverines to end the regular season. And it has to feel good sending the Spartans regular season and season as a whole to a close on a sour note if you're a Michigan baseball fan.
Absolutely. You know what? It was a great, gritty win for the Wolverines, and a lot of positives to take from this one. Not on the offensive end so much, but from a pitching aspect. You look at Michael Hendrickson. He gives you 7 strong innings. Jackson Lamb works in and out of trouble and shows why he is a very good part of a stellar bullpen. Tri Bucher did enough in the 10th to close it out, and the offense scored just enough and came around at the right time to earn the Wolverines the victory.
And as the rain continues to fall here at McLean Baseball Stadium, don't expect the rain to dampen the Michigan celebration. They may not have won the Big Ten regular season today, but they certainly feel good coming from behind and winning in 10 over the Michigan State Spartans. You've been listening to WCBN sports coverage of Michigan baseball. The final of the regular season before the Wolverines return to action in the Big Ten tournament next week in Bloomington. On behalf of Kevin Klein and the entire WCBN sports crew, so long from McLean Baseball Stadium on the campus of Michigan State University, where your Wolverines win it 2-1 in 10. On behalf of the entire WCBN sports crew, I'm Leo Blavin. For one last time on the call for WCBN Sports, wishing you a good afternoon and go blue.